Hello, everyone. Why do I look oily? Okay, hello, Douglas. Hi, Rudy. How are you doing? Hi, Sage Rat, and hi, Mary Jane. How is everyone doing on this lovely Saturday? So I was telling a couple of friends that, like, it's always when I'm backed up with, like, work to do for the podcast that, like, it's the most gorgeous day outside. It was, like, only in the low 80s, so, like, the weather was tolerable. It was sunny. I wanted to go outside, and I couldn't. I had to be in my dungeon, which this is the editing dungeon, the podcast dungeon, if you will. Ugh, hold on. My mic stand's uneven. There we go. So yeah, how are we all doing out there today? Maybe born this way. Or, you know what? I'm just gonna bring the camera. I'm gonna slide. Why don't you slide? Okay. So, getting into it. There's been a lot of talk recently, specifically about our favorite subject, as always, which is the Conjuring house. And people who are involved in the Conjuring house. And I just feel like the past 2 weeks has been like a barrage of different things. So I want to like go into talking about something specific. So let's just like jump right into it because it might be a kind of long night. Hopefully not too long, but it might be kind of long. So let's go right into here. Okay. So give me 1 second. I need to split screen myself. So I have all my notes, because you know your girl writes notes down. I should also say, I started doing research for this literally today at like 10 o'clock my time in the morning. This is not as much in-depth research as maybe I would usually like to do. This is going to be a lot of opinions. So I should start that out now. I am not a lawyer. I am not a media training coach. I am hardly a professional at this. I'm not a professional, actually. I don't make any money. Anything I say today is alleged and my opinion based on the writings and videos that we're going to see. I don't share, or anyone who is featured here does not necessarily represent my opinions, and I don't necessarily represent their opinions. Everyone has their own opinions. Everything is a legend until proven in court. And that's about it. Don't at me. Oh, before we go, personal news. Before we get into it. I might be a little back and forth about things. Because in the last week, my one dog has killed 2 groundhogs, one of them being today. Literally moments before my husband was getting the body, and he came in. He's like, I have more news for you. And I said, okay. And he's like, it doesn't have a head. And I said, okay. Thinking, because my dog's a terrier, that he like shook it. And then he was like, and I can't find the head. So that's my life right now. Anyway, into this. Okay. So this news report from WPRI came out 7 months ago, and it just kind of like mentions what we're talking about, or like it's a good starting point for what we're talking about. Hey Sarah, how you doing?
Now turning to the Conjuring House controversy, you may remember the historic home was supposed to go up for auction on Halloween, but it was abruptly canceled.
Target 12 investigator Sarah Grinelli is here now with new details on what happened. Sarah? Records show YouTuber Elton Castay bought the mortgage on the farmhouse, taking over the bank's position. But that doesn't mean he owns the property. It's known as a conjuring house in Burrillville, but to paranormal fans across the globe, it's a piece of history. That's why when the bankruptcy auction for the property was canceled in October, speculation swirled around who took over the bank's position. New documents reviewed by Target 12 show the buyer is a real estate holding company, controlled by YouTuber Elton Castay. Just because he bought the note and the mortgage doesn't mean he owns the property.
Okay, so just to note, Elton Castay went and bought the note. The mortgage note. He didn't, and as they state here, it does not mean he owns the property. Just quickly, hello Sarah and hello Frankly, how are you doing? Just a reminder, he doesn't own the property. He owns the debt that the house needs to have paid off. So Elton is essentially acting as a bank in this situation.
Castay could either get the owner Jacqueline Nunez to sign over the property or go through the auction process. This comes as he and comedian Matt Rife previously told Target 12 they wanted to take over the property. It's unclear if Rife is a part of the deal, but the two friends already own the famed Warren House and Cult Museum in Connecticut.
I really want people to be able to come here and do as they choose and experiment and learn and experience the spirit realm, the paranormal.
But there's competition to buy the home. The star of Sci-Fi's Ghost Hunters, Jason Hawes, has raised more than $300,000 to try and buy the property.
The outpouring from the community for the GoFundMe has been a big shock. They want to preserve its history and just keep it open for everybody.
He jumped into action after Andrea Perrin, whose family's experience inside the house inspired the horror film, called on him to save the farm.
And I want to leave that darkness behind and walk toward the light. And Jason Hawes is my knight in shining armor.
Castay declined to comment. We reached out to Rife, but didn't hear back. As for Hawes, he says he's going to try to continue to raise money to buy the property.
Okay, so I want to make a note that Elton refused to comment. I believe in a couple places that I read, I do have to double check, is that there's like several times where he just refuses to comment on like traditional news outlets. But I do be seeing Elton all up in comments and other people associated with Elton. So I guess my question for this stream is it right that Elton and his wife mostly, or others, so I'm not sure about other people, but I've seen Elton and his wife, is it right that they're going into the smaller creators' comments and giving comments? And maybe there's a better way to go about this. Let's explore this. Also, the emotional support husband is in the back. Everyone can say hi to Mr. Fright. Before we move on, hi Laws from Oz. How are you doing? Hey Stevie. Hi Andrew Stonerock. A bandwagon, huh? Yeah. Maybe. Who knows? We'll see by the end if I'm in it or not. So there. So that's the first one. Now, 2 months ago, Florio did a live stream. This is actually a real upload. I'm not really sure when the original one went out. So this re-upload came April 13th, 2026. So we're just going to watch a few bits of this as well.
Other people's videos about.
Sorry, everything's so quiet. Get loud. Let's get loud. Let's get loud.
This house. It's the same rhetoric. Jason's broke. Jason just wants to make money on this. Elton wants to actually give it to the paranormal, that he's going to auction it off for $4 million. Oh, that $4 million that Josh tried to offer. Just saying.
Okay. So, Josh of Exploring Josh, according to Florio in this moment, went and tried to offer Jacqueline Nunez $4 million in order to get the house signed over. Hi, Mr. Prism, how you doing? So we don't want to take these claims without like we don't want to take these claims at face value. We want to be able to, know where we're getting these facts from. Sorry, I put like all the links up and then forgot to do this one apparently. So here we go. So this is where Florio is getting this information from. This article here. Attorney argues Casti Rife conspired with plaintiff in suit over the Conjuring House. This is from January 9th of this year. Hi, Rawside. How are you doing? Laura. I know your name. I don't know why I call you Rawside. There you go. Burrillville. It's a case that includes all the sordid ingredients. Jesus Christ. I'm dyslexic. Bear with me. Be nice. Of a made-for-TV movie. From ghosts and celebrities to decidedly odd behavior and intervention from a distant, estranged relative, and it's all playing out in Rhode Island Superior Court as a lawsuit over Burrillville's most famous haunted attraction moves forward. The suit filed in December by Elizabeth Greenland of Utah, sorry if I said that name wrong, the older sister of the Conjuring House owner Jacqueline Nunez, seeks to block the sale of the Round Top Road property to famed paranormal personality Jason Hawes. So that's this article, but this is what I want to read down here. Hawes' filing states that Casti formed the LLC in September for the specific purpose of buying the Burrillville property. So the next thing that we're going to read is quotes. This, from the writing, I'm assuming that these quotes are from Jason Hawes' filing. I'm not personally sure if any of this has been proven, but this is what is in the filing. So according to the filing, quote, apparently after discovering that the property's owner, Balefire LLC, had been in foreclosure and had executed the P&S agreement with someone else, Hawes. So Balefire is Jacqueline Nunez's LLC. Casti, Rife, and the business entity under which they are acting, Summit and Stone LLC, decided to try to obtain the property in another way, unquote, the argument notes. According to Hawes, a few days after he executed the purchase of the sales agreement, Casti offered him 150... Sorry, OBS is she's having a moment. Good. It's okay, baby. We can get through this. Haunted Homies was witnessed no less than 3 times on the morning of November 15th, 2025 at Nunez's home after notifying a friend that he was going there to offer her $4 million to cancel her P&S agreement with Hawes. This is what the filing says. So somehow Jason Hawes got proof, he's saying in the filing, of a text message that Josh sent to a friend saying that he was going to offer Jacqueline Nunez $4 million for the home. Once again, Elton is acting as a bank. So I shouldn't say a bank. Elton's acting as the owner of the debt. So if you owe someone money and then they go and they get a friend to try to buy something, it's not great. It's at the very least, because once again, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know law, but it seemed really, really slimy. Slippy, slimy. Hey, Vic, how are you doing? And I think this is like a pattern that I'm going to try to establish with Elton's character, is that he tends to do things that come off to a layman as very underhanded. It seems really sneaky what he does, and I'll try to establish that as I go through this. Sarah, how is Amy Bruni involved? I'm not totally positive, but Vic seems to have the answer. She picked some fights publicly with Jason's side. So, people have their loyalties. So moving on. Quote, this is the actual backdrop of the instant lawsuit, albeit that that the case was strangely brought to Nunez's long-lost sister and plaintiff while simultaneously attempting to name the clear actors behind it, Summit and Stone LLC, merely as an interested party. Sorry, the camera is mirrored, so I have to figure that out. Notes the argument. Accordingly, the very parties that plaintiff has named as merely interested parties, in this case, Nunez Fire Bail LLC and Summit Stone LLC, seemingly are the true actors behind the entire dispute and are indeed truer and proper parties to this action. The plaintiff claims of mental capacity are merely another attempt to take the property out from under Hawes and plaintiff, clearly conspiring with Summit and Stone, it adds. So, that's what we need. That's what Florio is referencing in this specific part of the video. So, going back. Okay.
In there, okay. The other rhetoric that they spread as well is the house is worth more than 1.3 million, which is what Jason's offering. It's not, because when the house was originally bought, I don't have all the numbers. I'm gonna approximate based on what I recall. I know the numbers are wrong. So before Jacqueline, those people, they were good. They did a really good job with the house. They bought the house for like, it was something like 500,000 or 600,000. They turned it in. It was a residential home when they bought it. They turned it into a business. And honestly, it's not just the movies. It's the work that they did that made the house so popular. They had 24-hour like cameras running. People could log in, look at the website. Like they created an attraction, right? They did a good job with it. So when they sold it to Jacqueline, yes, it was like 1.5 million or so. I can't remember. Somewhere close to what she's buying it, what it's going to be bought out for, right? So she bought it as a business, and that's why, you know, it's gone up in price. Now, all these people are moving this rhetoric around trying to say that the house should be worth like 2.5 million or 3 million, based on, you know, the appreciation value. That's if it was a business. It lost its business license a while ago. It is now back to being a residential home. So being a residential home, 1.3 million is actually like above the going rate for a residential home in that area that needs that much work. It's bad now. It's been left too long. It's worth less than 1.3 million, to be completely fair. Okay.
Okay. So, I've bought a house fairly recently. I still get the realtor.com emails. So, once again, I don't know why I forgot to do this. Links. I tried to have all my links ready, kids, and I just didn't. I'm a failure. A failure. Go away. Not you guys. You stay. I was talking to something that happened on the computer. But yeah. So, like, we want to talk about what the house is worth. So, I saw back and forth 1 to 2, like, either it was a 3-bedroom house with a 1.5 bathroom or a 4-bedroom house with a 2-bathroom. So, I went with 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and I looked in the Burrillville area on realtor.com to just get an idea of what houses were selling for. But before we go, Andrew Stone Rock says, also, so you guys are aware, Nunez is basically broke. Jason has paid her bills a few times since all this has started going down. I can see that happening. But no, Jason is such a bad guy. No worries. Was happy to put my opinion. There we go. By the way, thank you for all your coverage, Andrew. Yep, I appreciate it. And Andrew will be talked about again. But yeah. So, okay. Just looking through a 4-bedroom house, you can see here, and like the contingent means like it's about to be sold. We won't know what the price is. But yeah, none of these are going as residential homes for too much over $1 million. Like, this is the nicest one. This one has a pool. Ooh, an outside bar. Maybe I'll just do streams where I go to realtor.com and pretend I want to buy another house. So yeah. You can see here, these residential homes, this is very nice. That's going for that much. So there's residential homes. So I thought, okay, you know, it does have something to the name though. Let's see what Zillow has to say. So, that's not what I wanted to do. Here we go. So Zillow puts the house at just over $1 million. This is more to point out that there is some validity to what Florio is saying of what the price should be. And that it's not that much short change based on the metrics that we have right now. Hi, Des. How are you doing? I'm waiting for a moron who likes to crash out in comment sections to drop a video before I fully cover this. That's fair. I doubt I'm gonna get a crash out in mine because I'm just a little bitty baby. Sarah, it's a historic property. You couldn't pay me to buy a historic home with all the regulations required to upkeep. Yup. I don't know if is it on the historical. Is it on that list? Because I know like there is a bunch of things that you can't like change once it is. Okay. So going back to Florio's video.
Okay. So that's the rhetoric they like to spread, is that Jason is ripping her off. But if Jason's ripping her off, Elton's not offering her more money. Elton can legally only take what's owed to him because he is now the bank. So how is Jacqueline's sister getting more money for the house? Oh yeah, the auction where Josh has $4 million to spend on this house. And now the sister comes out of the woodwork out of nowhere. Come on, okay. All right. There's a lot of shady stuff going on. I do recommend also that you follow Ms. Paranormal on Facebook. And just recently she posted, there is a neighbor to the property.
I also think that you should go follow Ms. Paranormal on Facebook. She is great. And also on TikTok as well.
The neighbor says that Elton is dealing.
Okay. I want you to remember that name Sullivan. Just put your brain and lock it. Sullivan.
To the bottom of the deck and desperate. I personally watched him illegally go on the property and put up cameras. Elton does not own this property. Elton owns the deck. It is illegal for him to go on the property and do any work on it.
Okay. So remember Sullivan. Once again, there's a story that Elton went onto the property and tried to put cameras up. Sorry, you're not allowed to see how the sausage gets made here. I have it all like tabbed for the clips that I want.
October 8th or 7th or whatever, and was like, well, we were planning to do this.
Okay, so Elton goes on October 8th or around that time and puts up a Instagram story. And the story goes as followed. Well, we were planning to announce tonight that Exploring with Josh will be joining Matt Rife and I as partners to bid on the Conjuring House on Halloween. But that's not happening anymore, sad face. Chat, my emotional... Chat, my emotionally intelligent chat. What does a frowny face mean? When someone makes a frowny face, what does that mean? Hi, Amber. How are you doing? Because to me, when I see a frowny face, I think we're disappointed. We are sad. So this... Like, I hate to say it, literally, this whole thing could have been a sneaky tee-hee if there was no frowny face. I wouldn't have felt lied to if there was no frowny face. Mary Jane's sore loser. Depends on who does, Mr. Prism, depends on who does it, could be good. Andrew, I'm not emotionally intelligent. Thank you very much. Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have assumed your intelligence on emotions. I should get the emotion chart out and be like, what does this mean? What does that mean? And so, okay. So, if without the frowny face, but that's not happening anymore, if they came out and said, which later They didn't really come out. It was kind of forced out, let's be honest. People had to do some digging and then found out. It wasn't a surprise. It wasn't like a haha fun surprise announcement. It was kind of forced out. And we'll get to that in a second. The frowny face to me says, once again, I'm disappointed that this is not going to happen. This suggests that it just is just disappointment in the situation and in the outcome. Clearly you weren't that disappointed that it wasn't going to happen, because you're the one who caused it not to happen. You're the reason there's no auction. Hey, Jesse, how are you doing? Out here assuming people's emotions. I didn't assume their emotions. I assumed they're intelligent on other people's emotions. Okay, 10:19. That's where we're at anyway. Okay. Oh no! You're seeing how the sausage gets me. Don't look! Stop! Don't look! Stop it! Did I do that twice? Accidentally? I think I did this twice. Oh, no, that's a really wrong one. Here we go. Here's me. Is the next one at 18:30? It is. Okay. Whoopsie. Okay. So here we go.
Okay. And I gotta show you guys something too, because this is the big thing I want to show you guys. This is the big thing that I think is also important to look at. All right. Okay. You see the lawyer name, right? James Morietti, and that represents Summit and Stone. Okay. This is James Morietti on LinkedIn, working at Resnick and Caffrey. Jacqueline's sister's lawyer, his name is Michael Resnick. There's Michael Resnick, partner at KSP, like I showed you on the thing there. KSPR. Yeah, KSPR. Michael Resnick. Paralegal at Resnick and Caffrey. So, do you guys understand? Resnick and Caffrey. So, who's paying for Jacqueline's sister's?
I'm not gonna finish that, but you know, I think it's a good question to ask. Who is paying for the sister's lawyer? I'm not gonna make assumptions, but like, it is interesting that there's shared legal, and like, maybe it's just a coincidence that they have the same, that a person from Utah has the same lawyers as someone from California. And I'm assuming they have to practice in Rhode Island as well. Like, but maybe it's just a coincidence. Maybe it's not a big field. Maybe it's very small and that's the only lawyer they both could have. Does it feel like a conflict of interest? Sure, it feels that way, but I'm not a lawyer, so maybe it's not. I don't know.
Lawyer? And like the law says that the bank isn't supposed to get involved in the sale of this house. The bank, the lender, is not supposed to be dipping their hands in that. Otherwise, banks would be screwing over people all the time and trying to steal the properties, right?
Right? Right? Amber. Oh, just an amount to get a custodial ship over some. Oh, sorry. OBS is having a day. It takes a lot to get custodial ship over somebody. It's like, it's just straight up not easy to do. Okay. So this is Jason Hawes talking. It is on Flurio's live stream. I'm streaming with Flurio stream, because she already found it and I want to go back and look for it, but also go check out Jason Hall's channel. I don't have links right now to everyone shown. It was just a time issue, but I do have the links all copied down, and I will be putting links to everyone featured today, including Elton's channel, because I will be talking about Elton. So I will include links to his channel as well. I think that's only fair. But here we go.
That's what we were just talking about. We were supposed to close on a Conjuring house on December 5th, and miraculously, we never got the payoff from the note holder, which is known as Summit Stone. Everybody can do the research from there. But what we did get was that very same night information that this miraculous law.
So Summit Stone has it's confirmed that Elton is the owner of the LLC Summit and Stone. That is confirmed.
Suit just came out of nowhere from an estranged sister out in Utah. So how she found out about it? Well, I can tell you how she found out about it, but that would follow the email chain that when we were asking for the payoff, and Needham Bank sent us and the attorney who covers that LLC information and letting them know that we were looking for a payoff. The LLC then at that point found out that we were looking for a payoff. So that's how that information got out. So right now we are in court. We're dealing with situations as they come and going from there. But either way, I think no matter what happens with the house, there's going to be some other things that are going to be happening. Me and my ChatGPT attorneys.
Yeah, like they're trying to spread this weird stuff. Like Jason like is broken. He doesn't even have real attorneys, and like it's so weird. It's just like weird digs that don't make any sense.
Oh man, it's supposed to be in court on Thursday, but now Tuesday and Thursday were canceled because the sister who miraculously found out about this whole thing is now out of. Oh, she dropped that. So
wait, you're gonna have to back up on all this and kind of explain it because I know I'm not the only one that A wants to know and B is confused.
Okay, so yeah, so the emergency injunction.
We're talking about the Conjuring House.
Yes, the Conjuring House. The sister dropped that. So now we're moving forward. I guess now, according to everything, she's seeking not receiver. She's seeking
guardianship.
Guardianship. Thank you. Somebody else seeking receivership.
Oh, guardianship of her sister.
Yep.
Which means that she would have the authority to make decisions for her.
Yeah, that's what she's trying.
Wow.
Yeah, and that.
Just to, like make.
Okay, so according to Jason, just to, like reiterate this, according to Jason, they were looking for this pay, so they like went through the proper channels, and as they were doing this, suddenly is when the sister appears and is filing this lawsuit. They go, okay, we'll take you to court for it, and the same sister was like, oh, actually, I can't actually come to court. I'm just gonna drop it. Never mind, JK. It was a joke, guys. It was funny. We all laughed about it. Andrew, also, every time Jason is supposed to pay off the debt and buy the house, Elton starts making excuses. He never gives him any account numbers or anything to send the payments to. Okay, so this is like, once again, if we're thinking about this house like a residential house with like a mortgage. So like you can like have a mortgage lender when you buy a house and they hold the debt for you. And like also they get interest off your debt. So I bought this house, or I'm buying this house. This is the bank's house right now. Let me tell you, it's like 20%. Maybe the front 2 steps are my house. They have the money. So it's like if I was like, hey guys, I'm ready to pay my mortgage. I'd like to give you money, please. And the bank went, about that. What did you say you wanted to do? And I'm like, pay. And they go, it doesn't ring a bell. But as they're doing that, the cousin or the friend of the lender is trying to also buy my house. The banks can't tell you like not to pay for your house. That doesn't make any sense. Otherwise, banks would be just taking people's houses and reselling them for higher. I don't know if it's legal or not. Not a lawyer, but it is unethical. I can say that much because I know morals, my own at the very least. Andrew, Jason told me this has happened like 24 times since December. That's crazy. And then, hi, Moss Green, how are you doing? Mary, this house will be in bad state of repair before he releases it, in my opinion. It's not in a great state of repair as is. Jason has been taking care of it. That is true. I know he's been cutting the grass. I don't know much more about that. I've been just going throughout my life and things like that. But I know he's been cutting the grass, so good for him. Hey, Florio, how are you doing? We're watching you. We're watching you watching Jason right now because you already clipped this for me. So, let's see. Okay. Watching me, watching you. We're watching Haas. Do, do, do. Okay. Here we go.
Heard anything about this woman? You knew that she existed, but beyond that,
hasn't been involved in years. I mean,
right. And when things were really bad, she was nowhere to be found.
Oh, that's right, 100%. And we have proof and solid evidence of all that.
And all of a sudden,
she miraculously found out that there was purchase sales, and no way she could have found out. But I can actually tell you how she found out. But that'll have to be through this whole list here because there's a whole lot of information. Let me tell you, one thing I found out recently, which is neat, is even if somebody is protecting themselves using like LLCs or businesses, if they message you or send messages to other individuals from their personal phone and email accounts, you know that can violate the whole LLC idea.
That pierces the protection of it.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a whole lot. There's a whole lot I've learned recently. And
So, like,
Yeah, there's a whole lot he learned recently. So what Jason's is saying here is at the time, I don't believe at this time, like, Elton had come out and said that he was the owner of the debt. This is kind of where this discovery is being made. So, in an attempt, it seems like, it appears to be, in an attempt to hide the fact that Elton bought the debt, Elton put an LLC that had a name that doesn't really, at least on the surface, doesn't connect back to him in some way, and tried using the LLC to hide his identity in order to buy this debt, which is, once again, seems like he was trying to take the house from Jason in some way. It would appear that possibly the plan, possibly, maybe, this is what could seem to happen. An LLC was created around the time to the house, or the auction going up. An LLC has a lot more protections than an individual person when it comes to, like, large purchases like this. It appears, possibly, maybe, allegedly, the LLC was created, and the idea was they were going to buy the debt, then use Josh as a partner to go and buy off the debt. Meaning that they closed off any possibility of the house really being on the market. Is that illegal? I don't know. Not a real estate lawyer. Does it feel slimy? It does. It feels like, you know, cucumber that's been in the fridge for 3 months, kind of slimy. Yeah, Jason's lawyer advised... Sorry, Florio says, yeah, Jason's lawyer advised it is illegal for banks to do this stuff. I haven't spoken to Jason's lawyer, so I'm just gonna... That's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say that. Not Overnight Debt Holdings LLC. Yeah, that would be like that'd be a fun name, though, wouldn't it? Write that down. Anyone have an extra, like, $150? Anybody? Sarah, I love the slimy cucumber reference. You shouldn't. It was a bad reference. It was not good. Okay. This is the next one. Okay. Jack up the volume.
Obvious.
So normally, like, Elton is acting as a bank right now. Banks have rules. I used to work at a bank too, and we had a bank that we purchased from the United States too. Banks have very strict rules about this stuff. There are federal laws that he needs to be following. And just like we're seeing, there's a lot of oopsies happening with this little group who are accidentally breaking federal laws, you know, with them, not malicious intent, but it's an accident. There's stuff going on here. Like, a bank should not be colluding with other...
What is a federal law broken amongst friends, though? Really? It's like breaking bread. Am I wrong? Don't do crimes. Sorry, that was in my eye. Hi, Miss Cals. How are you doing?
people. A bank should not be hiring lawyers for the family members, right? Allegedly or whatever. I'm basing it on, look at what I showed you, right? My research on the lawyers there. So
once again, okay, imagine you're going to buy a house and you're out on the market looking for a house. I know this is not exactly like a one-to-one read, like a scenario. You're going to buy a house and you get into a bidding war with somebody. And it turns out that the person you're bidding against is actually being funded by the bank that's selling the house. Does that really seem fair? It feels like money's not really getting spent, right? Because that money's going to get returned to that person or to the bank. Mr. Fright says, Breaking Bread, I think I saw that show. Yeah. It's on every Thanksgiving. Can someone do a parody of Baking Bad? That's the same show, but it's a different show. Someone do that. Make a spoof. Okay, everyone's laughing at you. You can't be funnier than me. Baking Bad is better, I think. Thank you. Thanks, honey. Thanks, sweetheart. Okay. Wait, did we watch that fully? Yeah, we did. Okay. Then we have this here.
I agree with Jason. Like, it's weird and it's messed up that there's somebody just like they're just doing it for the money. You know, they don't care about what the community. Well, they do care about their image because their image is like taking a hit lately. But for example, like
Sorry, Florio, it wasn't pie, it was bundt cake.
I don't know what all I can share, but I don't know if it's around online. I'd have to take a look. You know how Sam and Colby supported Jason Hawes? Like, they were like, we back Jason Hawes getting the Conjuring house. There's a reason.
Okay. So that did happen. And I have it all for you to see.
And that's just talking about a building that's 100 years old.
Yes.
The Conjuring house is 300 years old.
As a 300-year-old farmhouse would be something that would take immense time if we wanted to do it right.
We've actually already looked into that a little bit, and we really understand how immense the repairs are going to be when purchasing this house. I think there are tons of pros if Colby and I were to buy
Bundt cake. B-U-N-D-T. Bundt cake. Bundt cake. Baking Bad seems like it would be a pun business for Bob's Burgers opening. That does. That's actually the bakery across the street from Bob's Burgers. Moss Green sounds like a conflict of interest, doesn't it? It does, doesn't it? You said it, not me. Noses goes.
Buy this Conjuring house. So with that being said,
The foreclosure auction that was set for Halloween is canceled. The underlying mortgage on the property was sold. While we don't know who's behind the purchase,
the auction on Halloween for the Conjuring house is no longer happening.
It was this big thing for weeks, and then...
Okay, everyone else I have to check up. They're so loud. Why are you yelling at me? Also, don't copyright strike me. Please, I'm going to compliment you in a second. Don't copyright. Don't do it.
Poof, like it's gone. What happened?
Right now, it is in limbo, and again, no one can technically purchase the house anymore.
We were so close to coming up with our decision, and then we saw this video from Andrea Perrin, who, as a reminder, guys, she lived in this farmhouse as a little girl when her mom got levitated and thrown across the living room. So Andrea Perrin herself came out with a video on Facebook. This is what she had to say.
The farm is home and heart to me. And I feel that the farm is in jeopardy, and this is an outreach to a friend of mine, Jason Hawes. I have to ask you, please, Jason, for me, for everyone, please save the farm. And the only person that I know belongs there is you. This is not about a financial transaction. This is about reverence and respect and honor.
After seeing this video, we decided we are completely
Gonna buy this shit right now. We're making a phone call right now.
We are purchasing this shit. We truly want whatever is best for the Conjuring house, whether that means we're involved or not.
It's not a financial decision for us. It's not a big business opportunity.
After watching this video, we think that truly we cannot partake in owning this house if one of the only people that should have this decision wants it to go to Jason Hawes.
Exactly. For those of you who do not know who Jason Hawes is, he's one of the lead roles in the show Ghost Hunters, and he's been investigating the paranormal for literally over 30 years.
Luckily, Jason Hawes came out with a couple videos saying he was willing to take on that challenge. He made a bunch of reasons why he was going to be able to take on this house, and he actually created a GoFundMe in order to purchase this house. But it seems like Jason Hawes still has a plan to get it.
Yeah, which is kind of confusing, but let's listen to what Jason has to say about our sales.
If you noticed, I kicked back open the GoFundMe, and we're going to start cranking this along. It's all about saving the Conjuring house. Andrea's plea. Meet him.
Not them saying it's confusing. They could have reached out to Jason for clarification. Don't be saying it's confusing.
Bank sold off the mortgage. They didn't sell off the house. So whoever bought the mortgage is now going to have to go through the whole foreclosure process again. Actually makes it a higher probability than we were last week when we had to go up against everybody. We can do this. This can be a historic movement like no other.
If you guys want to support Jason, we'll leave the GoFundMe link in the description. But honestly, our biggest wish is whoever ends up owning the Conjuring house just takes care of it. We want this to stand the test of time and allow everybody to experience this insane, incredible history.
Not to mention, all of the spirits there deserve to be respected, like Abigail.
Shout out.
Okay. Thank you. So I am going to compliment the guys here. Not the boys. That's a different group. I would like to note that that video came off as very respectful, even Sorry, gotta give my girl a second. There's no anger behind it. There's understanding behind it. I just think it comes off a lot better. And it's not just because they like tip their hat, but it feels like, at least the way that they are portraying it, they are gonna forfeit their bid on it because of the wishes of people, and they understand the emotional aspect about the sale of this home. I shouldn't say home. This house. It was a home for some people, but it's a house now. Hi, Zombie J. How are you doing? Florio, come on now. If they can't research it on their phones in 1 minute, TikTok, they can't understand the information. You know what? I already got in trouble for thinking that people were going to be emotionally intelligent. I'm not going to question anyone else's intelligence tonight. Emotional or books. I'm not. Andrew says, I mean, Jason is really good about reaching out to people who have questions, like really good. So if they really wanted to reach out, then they could have. I agree. I think they probably should have reached out to just explain the way that I've been interpreting it, is that this is a crowd-funded thing. And much like how the Met is run, I shouldn't say that. That's not true. Okay, walk that back. If everyone contributes a little bit and then helps this house get up, it will keep the cost down for other people or the people who want to use it in the long run. So the options are, you either pay full now so that it gets enjoyed, or it's like pay now so that like it's a little bit easier down the line, or you pay a huge amount later on. So, like, yeah, why not spread the cost out a little bit? And, like, you can think of it as, like, a paying it forward kind of a deal with thing. Like, if you have a little extra, then you can give it. I'm not telling you to give to this GoFundMe. It's none of my business what you do with your money. But that's just how I've been seeing it. Florio, you guys have to realize this video was shade to Elton. They don't care too much about the facts. Florio, I'm getting to it. I just stepped aside so people could see it. We'll say it. Getting to it. So that being said, Florio, you can repeat yourself here.
Getting the Conjuring house. There's a reason behind also why Sam and Colby did it that way. And it's not just because of Andrea or Jason. There's other shit. Elton he's burnt a lot of bridges and he's doing a lot of shady shit. Look at who he surrounds himself with. Matt is and he's like best friends with Zach Bagans. Like, just, these are not good people, you know? And I mean, look, they're best friends like Nesper and Tony Spera and stuff, and they are shady at AF, those guys, you know?
Fair enough. I know. Yeah, just biting the inside of my cheeks.
So you heard it. Shady AF. So okay. Whoa, wrong one. So just to go over the point I'm trying to make, is Elton shady? So this is we've just gotten past the background right now of what we're going to get into, what's been happening the last few weeks. So far, Elton has allegedly, possibly, in Minecraft, whatever I need to say that I don't get in trouble. Elton, one, put out an Instagram post that was highly deceptive based on the emoticons it used. Emojis, if you want to. No emoticons, because it was a little thing. With a frowny face, suggesting that he was disappointed that there would be no Conjuring auction. Turns out the reason there's no Conjuring auction is because of him. He, possibly allegedly in Minecraft, opened an LLC just to hide his identity, so when he bought the debt, no one would know it was him. He went and had his friend, allegedly, possibly in Minecraft, go to the owner of the Conjuring house and try to give her money of $4 million to try to do an under the table deal. deceptive. Are some people going to play that off of a smart business move? Possibly. Is it? I don't know. I don't own a business. I'll be upfront. I don't own a business. Is it legal? I don't know. Not a lawyer. Is it morally right? That's where I would argue no. I would argue that you should not be deceptive in those ways. Okay. Let's see. Isabel. Elton doesn't look good to me, and he's been trespassing, and that was on the regular People news. We're gonna get to that. Vic, it's almost like leaving a cell phone in a remote location and then committing a crime on the other side of the county. Zombie, what I don't get is why they can't respect Andrea's wishes since he respected and went on good terms with her. Money? Probably money. Oh, have fun, Andrew. I'll probably check out your stream after I'm done here. Good luck with stream. Okay. So now we're going to move on to what's been happening recently. Hey, Kit Ford, how are you doing? Four months ago, Jake Hartz did a video collaboration with Overnight, Elton's channel. I'm not going to get into everything. You know, Andrew just left and Jake Hartz came in. Are we thinking that he's the same person or knew I was going to start talking about him? That's crazy. Okay. I'm not going to get fully into all of this, but I did watch it, and I will admittedly say I was not a huge fan of the way Elton seemed to be treating Jake Hartz. My biggest upset was the whole flashlight situation, only because, like, I was honestly concerned of, like, Jake Hartz falling and hurting himself. Which would have been a liability on a lot of people, not just the fact that, like, you shouldn't want them to get hurt. I don't know if it would have really been that hard to go suggest, hey, maybe you forgot a flashlight. That's my only major thing that made me go, nah, I don't like that. That doesn't feel great. And then you don't have to look at my husband's face. I'm so sorry. So then 2 weeks ago, Side-Eye Guy did a did a reaction to Jake Hart's collaboration on Overnight. So this is like that thumbnail. One of the critiques that Seg gave was Elton not shouting Jake Hartz out enough to help him with subs. And I will say, as of today, 6/20, Jake Hartz has 46.7 subs, while Overnight has 1.95 million subs. When I say, sorry, 46.7 thousand to 1.95 million subs. In the same week that all this is going on, Jake Hartz puts out a reaction video to the reaction video, just clarifying some of the stuff that was said. So I just want to take a look at this one part here.
So going to do my absolute best to not talk about the whole Conjuring House thing, because God knows so many of us, I'm sure, have had our fill of all of it. I think it's resolved now, or is it?
It's fair enough. It's a lot. It's a lot. There's a lot of shit going on. So I took a break on the Conjuring stuff. Here and there, I will tackle a couple of small things that are dealing with it, but overall, I feel like it's pretty much to the end of it now, you know, with the Conjuring House stuff.
You sweet, sweet summer child. You sweet summer child. This wasn't that long ago. Oh, Oh. In the same video. Oop, not that one. This one.
That's what this is right now. This is pure survival.
I've heard Jordan say in his other videos that he's surprised and disappointed that he didn't quite get the channel growth from this collaboration that he was expecting.
I just got done doing a pretty decent collaboration, which I thought, you know, was going to actually spark up my channel a little bit, but it really didn't, which is fine. That happens. You go out and you do stuff, and sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't, and it didn't hit for me. But I started to notice, like, I'm like sitting here thinking, that should have at least brought some people over. Not everybody, but some people. And it didn't even do that.
And as I'm watching this video, I am not surprised whatsoever, because Elton almost went out of his way.
That's true, though. That's true, though. I was expecting it to do more, because I in my head, you know, it's not every day you get a 2 million subscriber channel to ask you out and to do something, not ask me out like a date or anything, even though we did go out to dinner, so I guess that kind of was. It wasn't every day that you get that opportunity. So obviously, you know, I was extremely excited too. But I think anybody would in that scenario. You'd be very excited to go and do something with a bigger channel like that. So yeah, there was a bit of disappointment. If I'm going to be honest, there was a bit of disappointment that it didn't hit like it did, like I thought it would. But I'm not like letting it bring me down. I'm not heartbroken. I'm not butthurt over it. I'm not mad about it. It is what it is. Was I honest and I said this probably on a live stream? Of course I was. I was like, you know, that's a bit of a disappointment that it didn't like kick off like I thought it would. But at the end of the day, it's the experience that counts. And, you know, Side-Eye Guy acknowledged that. Many people in the paranormal have acknowledged that, like, hey, man, but at least you got the experience. At least you got to go out there and do something as big, like hanging out with Overnight. And I still agree that, yes, that is the main purpose of why I did it. It was a good way to break out of my shell, as I like to say it. It was a good way to break out of my shell, to try to do something big. Because, look, if I said, I was actually thinking about saying no the first time Elton had asked, because I was too nervous. But I didn't want to be like that for the rest of my life. I wanted to be able to do stuff that I normally would not do with channels that maybe I would not do them with. And I liked what Elton was presenting in the Corey Shear versus Elton thing. I thought he was bringing receipts. He seemed like a genuinely honest guy. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. And when I met him, very nice guy. I know he gets a lot of flack, but with my collaboration, he was very nice.
To not help J-Car Arts out. So even though it's no surprise that I am no way near a bigger channel as Overnight, I still would like to take this opportunity right now for us segues to help Jordan out. So if you haven't done so already, guys, please go check out Jordan's channel. The link will be in the description. Give him a sub, watch his videos, you know, just do all that good stuff.
Well, I appreciate the shout out, because you literally helped me gain like 300 subs with that little shout out that you did, and I really do appreciate that. And I do really appreciate that you took the time to take a watch the collaboration, give it a view, give me your honest thoughts. I appreciate that. Hopefully, me kind of sitting down and kind of going over some of the behind the scenes stuff may give you a different opinion, maybe of the whole overall experience. I did not view it the same way, again, that a lot of people viewed it. But that's just me. That's just me, and I know I cannot change people's opinions about what they think of people, you know, like Elton or the Overnight crew or the Overnight channel in general. You'll have your opinions, of course. But with my experience, I thought it was a good one.
Okay. Literally, he ends on, in my experience, I thought it was a good one. Just to break it down, Seg critiques the treatment as well. And, you know, talks about the viewership. J-Carts admits, yeah, actually, I didn't get as many as I thought I was. And yes, Seg did help me get some extra eyes on my channel. But then goes on to compliment Elton a lot. That's great. You did a collaboration. Awesome. It does... I will say, and I did say it in this next video, I don't think a collaboration is a sign-on of loyalty. There are people who I have collaborated with in the past that I don't necessarily agree with all their stances on things. I have a specific warning in all of my video content saying anyone featured does not necessarily hold my views. I don't think it becomes a blood oath to get on someone's channel, and I don't really like the implication of, well, I'm a bigger channel, therefore you need to kiss the ground I walk on. And honestly, J-Carts did. not kiss the ground he walked on, but was very complimentary. Very complimentary. If I had never seen anything about this and I just saw this one video, I would think that there were no hard feelings and like everything was great, and that this other person, like this other person just didn't understand the friendship dynamic going on, just didn't get it. That being said, we are YouTubers. We are content creators, and you gotta do it for the content. Sometimes, like, I know Dust says it all the time. Sometimes things are like just for the content, and if you make news, it's gonna get reported. Mind you, it's usually on a much smaller scale with us, but this time news was in fact made. Like, news was made. And Jake Hart's next video was... Sorry, OBS is having a day. Okay, hold up. Before we move on, no flirting in my chat. It's not allowed anymore. It makes me feel weird. Jake Hart's, I was wrong. I'm so sorry, you sweet, sweet summer child. You didn't know. You didn't know any better. It's okay. Well, it was a good opportunity, even if it didn't turn out. Exactly. I think it was a great opportunity. I'm never going to fault someone for trying to get their content out there and trying to get their face out there. Trust me, I know it's hard. Ken, hi, how are you doing? Yeah, it was a great life experience. Isabel. I think that the people who are going to be attracted to Jake Hart's arts and overnight are going to be different people. I love Jake Hart's arts, and I won't even give that bros channels any time. Yeah, no, but like, it's just about exposure at this point, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's how the game is played here. But anyway, going back to this article. Judge Melissa Diragon, we're going to go with that, ruled earlier this week that Ghost Hunters TV star Jason Hawes is the likely new owner of the 18th century farmhouse, according to the Providence Journal. Diragon's decision comes after Hawes submitted an affidavit, which also, Jake Hart's, I'm so sorry. Not to pick on you. It's pronounced affidavit. Submitted, and I'm not picking on you because I also mess up saying words all the time. To the court from the neighbor Donald Sullivan. Do you remember how I told you remember that name? Remember that neighbor who commented on Ms. Paranormal and said, hey, Elton's been on the property hanging cameras? Our boy is back. Donald Sullivan is back, baby. And he is saying it. He is spreading the good word. Who claimed the YouTuber Elton Cassidy and others associated with him have been on the Round Top Road property at least 3 times over the past several months. In the affidavit, Sullivan wrote that the vacant house across the street from his own has, quote, led to a serious amount of loitering, trespassing, and noise to the point where at times I have to interject myself to break it up, unquote. Quote, I have found myself trying to at least keep people off the property from trespassing, quote, unquote, Sullivan explained. Quote again, after seeing 4 individuals walking along the property line, I decided to go down and ask them to leave. Sullivan explained, one of the individuals was Cassidy. Quite curious. Sullivan described Cassidy as being, quote unquote, extremely arrogant. When he told him not to trespass on the property, he told me, I'm buying this house for $3 million. What happened to the extra $1 million? Where did it go? I'm buying this house for $3 million. I own the Warren house already, and the neighbors love me, Sullivan recalled. The woman doth protest too much. Cassidy and the 3 other individuals with him eventually left after some back and forth, according to Sullivan. I'm also really, really prepared for this Donald Sullivan guy to just be a little bit petty. Do I hate that for him, though? Do I hate that for him, though? No. But also, I hope for Donald's sake that Jason gets the house, because they seem to have a better relationship than him and Elton. Oh, no. Oh, ooh, that'd be rough. The second time Sullivan ran into Cassidy was in early January. This time, Sullivan said he noticed 2 cars parked near the entrance of the property. Sullivan said he encountered Cassidy again, along with his wife and another individual. Quote, Cassidy informed me that he had permission from the Burrillville Police Department to not only be there, but to enter the property since he was the owner and was there to install surveillance equipment, unquote, Sullivan continued. According to Sullivan, the trio spent about a half hour on the property before leaving. So as we noted from 7 months ago, when WPRI reported on this, they noted Elton owns the banknote. He does not own the property. He is not the property owner. Once again, if we are thinking about Elton being a lender of this mortgage, of this money, that is like a representative from my mortgage company coming into my house and being like, well, I own it. Excuse me? Excuse me? No. No. According to Sullivan, the trio spent a half hour at the property before leaving. Then on May 15th, Sullivan said he noticed 4 individuals on the property, including a man in a suit. Not the Men in Black getting involved. Just kidding. Or am I? Sullivan said he contacted Hawes before intervening and then approached the man to ask him why they were there. The man claimed the Burrillville police chief and town solicitor had given them permission, according to Sullivan. Quote, at this point, I told him I had the deed holder on the phone, Sullivan wrote in the affidavit, referring to Hawes. Then, quote, the one individual wearing the suit said he didn't know who that was. I'm assuming he's saying that, because I know some people took this as like he's saying I don't know who Jason is. I think he more meant like, oh, I don't know who's the deed holder, because it's still debated. I think that was just like their sneaky way of saying that it wasn't figured out in court yet. That's what I'm taking that to mean. I asked who they were, and they refused to tell me because they didn't know who I was. He continued. Seeing this conversation was going nowhere, I disengaged and let Hawes know how the interaction went. Sullivan said the 4 individuals left the property shortly thereafter. Other court documents obtained by 12 News revealed the 4 individuals worked for Cassidy. Cassidy and the comedian, Matt Rife, expressed interest in the property long before current owner Jacqueline Nunez signed the deed over to Hawes. Cassidy purchased the underlying loan that Nunez had taken out to buy the farmhouse ahead of the foreclosure auction. That scheduled for Halloween. The auction was abruptly called off after the sale note. Right now, Cassidy owns the property debt while Hawes has the deed and is in the process of closing on the home. While Dargan, that's what we went with, right? Determined that Cassidy and his associates do not have the right to access the property whenever they please. She did grant them permission to inspect the home every 30 days, but only if they give Hawes and Nunez 48 hours notice, per the Providence Journal report. This comes after a judge dismissed a high-profile lawsuit filed by Nunez's sister in an attempt to block the sale of the house. The lawsuit was filed late last year by Nunez's older sister, Elizabeth Greenhall. That's what we're going with. Sorry. Argued that the sister was legally incompetent and not of sound mind when she signed over the rights to Hawes' associate, Julia DeMay, to sell the home for at least $1.3 million. Okay, we're going to end that there. this also came to mind. So this was a news report. And it may appear that some people were not happy that this news report was read and reported on specifically by J-Carts. This actually just came to mind now. Something else that really rubbed me the wrong way a while back. When the Warren Museum was bought, J-Carts read an article. So he read a news article. And it was stating different point things about, like, different prices about the Warren Museum. And Elton left a comment that was like, "You're reporting falsely, yada yada," on J-Cart's like comment section. And I don't get why he would go and do that in J-Cart's comment section when he was just reading the newspaper. As far as I understand, J-Carts did not write that article. Go get upset with the newspaper and go ask them to do a redact, like, to take it out and to rewrite it with the correct information. You can't get angry at him for reporting on what was said. So, once again, it seems that people were upset that J-Carts specifically reported on this. And we're going to watch that now. This is Team Jason or Team Elton. And this came out 5 days ago.
Maniacs, welcome back to the channel. Your local bedhead here. A sip of coffee before we get started. This video is basically going back over my last video about Elton Castay and the interactions between pretty much him and the neighbor and how they weren't all that positive. And I got comments on that video of people asking me, well, Jordan, how do you know if the neighbor is telling the truth about Elton? Why are you taking everything as factual? Why are you sitting here saying Elton is responsible for all these things that transpired within this article? And the reality is, obviously, I don't know whether if it's all 100% true. But then where were your guys' comments on the last video I did when we were talking about Jason Hawes getting Jacqueline Nunez to sign something that she was unaware of, right? We went off the assumption that maybe Jacqueline was just not in the right state of mind. But we all kind of started jumping to a conclusion thinking that, hey, maybe he did take advantage, painting him out in a bad light. We didn't say everything was factual, but we did say that if he did do this, well, then obviously it's not good. None of you were there or say anything along the lines of like, hey, Jordan, why are you taking this all as factual? That is what I view as being biased. So we can only tackle the things that potentially Jason does that's not all that great, but we can't touch the other person. That's not what I'm about, nor should I ever have been about. As a matter of fact, it wasn't even that long ago when Elton himself left a comment on my video.
Okay. Jesus. Okay. Ginger told me about your video and I wanted to chime in because it seems you 100% understand my perspective on this scenario. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for chiming in only when I agree with you. Sorry, that was a weird line, which I greatly appreciate. I wanted to avoid any toxicity or drama. So why'd you put it on a public comment section? Anyway, sorry, so distracted. My bad. I did. But unfortunately, I have the experience of seeing how Corey handles situations identically from this really... Okay, this is the Corey situation. I'm not well versed on this. I'm not going to read it. But anyway, the point is, our Jordan highlights at the bottom. Anyways, I just appreciate the neutral stance on this. Just want the truth. Yada, 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 yada. Yada, 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 yada.
Stating that he appreciated my neutral stance and everything. But because I was being neutral. Why should I all of a sudden change because... Is it because Elton invited me to do a collaboration? And that automatically means I need to remain true to him? I really hope a lot of people here aren't thinking that's how it worked.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Fans shouldn't feel this way, or watchers shouldn't feel this way. But maybe people in the situation shouldn't feel that way either. Maybe one collaboration is not a binding contract. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
Or I should do. I'm not worried about gaining subscribers as fast as possible. I want to slowly get my way up there in my own way, but I want to be honest with myself. And I never said that all that stuff is factual. Basically, what I did say, though, was that if this is in fact true and he did respond to the neighbor like this, I think he could have handled it better. But I wasn't outright, like, attacking him. A lot of you guys seem to think that I'm outright attacking Elton right now.
Also, like, that's a very mild take on something. Of, hey, I think you could have been nicer. Have you never, like, said that to, like, a good friend? I've said it to my best friend all the time. There was actually a really fun story. We, were at a bachelorette party, and my friend and I were rooming together. And she'd said something the night before, and I was like, you got it. Like, we woke up in the morning, I'm like, you gotta be nicer. And she's like, what? Turns out she didn't have to be nicer. The person and her were fine, but, like, that's a very mild take. I don't know. That's amongst friends. You never see someone in a line somewhere, or the way someone, like, treats a waiter or waitress and been like, oh, they could have been nicer. Okay, if we're gonna get real upset about these things, we need to get a little bit of a thicker skin.
And even getting really upset about it. And it's like, no. But if that was Corey Shear who said that, you guys would have been pissed off at Corey Shear. You guys do not know Elton. Just because you sit behind a screen and you watch his videos, that does not necessarily mean you know everything about the guy. And I think that's fair of me to deduce.
No, J-Carts, you can say this with your whole chest. That's fine. That is parasocial. It's something that's been looked into. Yes, people have a parasocial relationship with Elton, with you as well. I'm sure people will start to have one with me. You know, it's anytime you...
and probably everybody on the fucking face of the planet, we all have our moments. And Elton is no different. Elton can have his moments. As a matter of fact, you go to Side-Eye Guy's recent video about Side-Eye Guy's opinion of...
Some of us have moments more than others of us. Just saying.
Of Elton and my collaboration. Elton left a comment there, and it was very obvious that he was pretty heated. And he may have took things a little...
Okay, so Elton left a comment. So I went back today to look for this comment. It's not there anymore. I'm just saying, it's not there anymore. But it's okay, because it was in... I need to get rid of that one. Let's do this. It was in one of the videos. I think it was Side-Eye Guy's video. Or a live stream, maybe. And I caught it. I got it. So here we go. Oh, you guys can't really fully see it. Oh, I can't move it. Here we go. Okay, so this TFIL channel is a travel channel that Elton apparently also has. Yo no sé. Anyway, dude, it's crazy how hard you have to try to be such a miserable person. Some of us don't try. I was an emo kid once. Just kidding. I wasn't really emo. I was more like scene, but less because my mom wouldn't let me dye my hair. Joke's on you. Now I dye it red all the time, Mom. Checkmate. Anyway, I actually can't fathom what you have going through in your personal life, that this is how you choose to spend your time and consciously make a choice to think of, film, edit, and post videos fully dedicated being a hateful human. But also, maybe you shouldn't point that finger, Elton, because this is a paragraph. Also, not to get upset about anything. You don't have to double space after every sentence. You don't have to do that. Whatever it is that is happening or has happened in your life, I really hope you can fight through your demons, because obviously an internal demon you have is far worse than any within any haunted house. Seg did go to the Conjuring house. Did he get a demon from the Conjuring house? It's been a theory for a couple of people. But also, if you're... marketing move. If you're in the paranormal, does it make sense to blame skeletons in people's closet or their mental health on demons and say that they're worse than the demons that you possess? Because isn't that like bad marketing to be like, actually your demons are worse than the demons I have? Because wouldn't that drive people to like just go hang out with Seg? Right? Like a marketing standpoint, right? I hit up Jordan roughly 2 years ago when I first saw his video during all the Corey BS drama and that happened and said then, if I'm ever in your area, I'll let you know and you're welcome to jump into a video. Well, the same time, and I was in Ohio. The time came. Geez, I'm dyslexic. And I was in Ohio area and I let him know. Everyone go solo on our channel their first time. Literally everyone. Every time. It's why we call it the rite of passage or whatever dumb term we use. Why are you calling your terms dumb? Why are you calling your terms dumb? You're not instilling confidence in me. He joined as much of the investigation as anyone else ever does in any video ever. Someone goes alone, some go into a pair, some do a group. We do a big group thing. We split up. It's all... Why is the format that of Scooby-Doo? Gotta split up, gang. Okay. It's always been that way, so stop being dramatic. You stop being dramatic. Especially when I know you obsess over watching paranormal investigator videos. That's kind of like the shtick of his channel, yeah. What we say, you're obsessed with comedians who want to go ghost hunting? Okay. Okay, that's dumb. That's dumb. Oh, you're obsessed with what you make content about. Oh. Okay. Whatever. Also, he literally has a flashlight on him. He's literally wearing it. He's wearing it. Well, that's not what was described. That's not what was said. So you calling Jordan a liar? Is that what we're doing? Just saying. Just saying. We show everyone how to turn on every dang flashlight on the body cameras. Okay, but he didn't have the flashlight on. And you even called it out. Why are you yelling? You called it out. You're the one who edited and put that in. It was in your video. You had that in, that you question it. That's your fault. It's not anyone else's fault for pointing it out. I'm also reading this for like the first time. If they forget when they are on their own, okay. Why are you yelling? Through message. I don't know if you're yelling. Maybe he's super calm about this. We don't do dumb montages of other channels when we bring people on our channel. We don't really even do collabs at all. Okay. Sure. You can film and edit your videos the way you want. We'll do it in our way. Okay, that was always allowed. He was just making a suggestion. That was it. That's all he said. That's the difference between you and I. You and I. Yeah, you and I. You just talk shit. We actually go out and do shit. I hope it's in a toilet. Gross. Anyways, I mean what I said. Okay. I've seen your videos pop up now for years, always being hateful, negative person that brings zero positivity into the world, at least demonstrated by your videos. And your videos are always full of your arrogant, holier than thou. I know everything mentality when a simple email could answer your question, so I hope you find some happiness. You're critiquing it not being an email in the comment section. Pot? Kettle? It does break my heart to know you'll actually never have a real conversation with us and will just keep on slinging BS and nastiness. Does it break your heart? Aw, I'm sorry, Elton. Guys, hearts for Elton. He's going through a broken heart right now. That's so sad. Aw. Aw. Okay. Anyway. So, that's what Elton had to say to SAG. I do want to just quickly mention that channel specifically, that channel, Calling Out SAG, has 4.03 million subscribers, while SAG has 53.2 thousand subscribers. I don't get why Elton feels the need to go after these channels in their comment sections. Almost like a, hey, I'm watching you kind of a deal. When he has such a larger base. Not to mention he's also like deleting these. Or I don't know who's deleting them. Someone could have deleted them. Why do you care? Like, and Elton comes from like the TikTok days, and also like, once again, Seg's a little channel, and I didn't look. I meant to look for this clip and I couldn't find it. In a recent, like within 3 months ago, the podcast "Do We Know Them" with like Jessie Smiles was, and Lily. I forget her last name. I don't want to call her the other girl because that's the joke, but Lily. They were talking about like a sponsor or a brand deal. And Jessie Smiles comes and she's like, yeah, Elton Castille, I remember him. I always thought he was slimy. Like she said something, I'm probably misquoting, but something along those lines where she did not like Elton. Because I remember I was not feeling great that day. So I was like falling asleep listening to it. And I got a jump scare thinking I was watching a debunking video when I was watching like the Do We Know Them podcast. There are other content creators much larger who I would say that's more defamatory than critiquing an editing style. What? Why? Why? And why is this your approach? I watch a number of creators, and a lot of the times, like, unless it's something that's like actually like getting spread around and stuff, they just kind of let it go. Let people say what they want to say. Don't give it air. You speaking up about it in this manner is not winning you any favor. Like, I don't think a layman would look at this and go like, nice, cool fucking move. I like that. That's so cool. So we're going to finish up this Jordan video really quickly. J Cards Arts.
A little too far with his comment. You know, it wasn't really focused on just, you know, criticizing Side Eye Guy's video. No, it was actually attacking Side Eye Guy's personal life. And I didn't agree with that comment, and nor will I agree with that comment. I just didn't think it needed to go that far. Look, if he had a difference of opinions and he wanted to, like, have an argument with Side Eye Guy or talk to Side Eye Guy or...
I think it... I don't know if I would go as far as, like, a personal attack because, like, things weren't specifically mentioned. I don't think Elton knows Side Eye Guy well enough. I don't think he engages with his content well enough to make something deeply personal. I do think it was meant to hurt in the same way, like, schoolyard bullies say things that are meant to hurt. They don't know you well enough, so they just say anything that they think might stick. You know, like, oh, you're hateful. Okay. What if I am a hater? I was born to be a hater.
That would have been one thing. But that's not what he decided to do. He basically told him that his life was miserable. And everything going on in his life is probably the reason why he viewed our video like that, or Elton's video like that, where I was just involved. But no, Side Eye Guy, he made some interesting points. I can see where he's coming from. I'm not mad at Side Eye Guy. Look, it is what it is. He had an opinion, and look, a lot of people agreed with him. It is what it is. We're all content creators. We all have to be open to these criticisms. We all have to be open to when we put out a video, and maybe someone just doesn't agree with how it's edited or put together. I had a great time during the collaboration.
Okay, and I see people saying, like, Douglas is like, I don't like Mr. Beast. Kip Ford says, like, yeah, Mr. Beast kind of sucks. Yeah. I don't, but, like, and I've seen so many people cover Mr. Beast controversies. I don't see Mr. Beast in fucking people's comment sections. And, like, I don't see him in other people's comment sections. And correct me if I'm wrong. I literally have never watched a Mr. Beast video in my life, and I plan to keep it that way as long as possible. But what is it like? Gods do not gods don't concern themselves with the matter of ants, something like that. I'm probably butchering that saying, but like once you're like large enough, you don't care about the little things being said, because it also like, yeah, it's the Streisand effect in the way that like no one would have known this. Probably most people in Elton's audience would not have known about what Side Eye Guy said. So why are you bringing light to it through your channel? And they might still not know, because I don't think there was like a lot of backing up, and we'll get to more of that too. He contacts creators that commented on him all the time. Mr. Beast does. I think it's different. They do it in private though. Like, I do have to say, I do think it's different if you come to somebody in private and try to have a conversation with them versus making it public. Because if you do a public fight, you have to have a public apology. Things done in public need public acknowledgement. So going into like, I know this is not necessarily what we're talking about, is like, no, he isn't a drama queen, hun. He isn't a good comparison. But like Philip DeFranco talks, well, Philip DeFranco just won a bunch of money too, like a Mr. Beast game thing. But like I see other people and I don't see Mr. Beast in the comments. It's another if he like goes and privately messages them. I will say that. I think that is different. Is it still bullying? Sure. But if something happens in private, it can stay in private. It doesn't have to. But yeah, like, okay, we'll go with Philip DeFranco. I've seen other people critique. Okay, maybe Mr. Beast. Maybe because I'm not on Twitter. I don't know. I don't believe anything that happens on Twitter is real. You guys are lying to me. I have such good mental health. I can't be on Twitter. I feel like when a creator gets 2, 3, 5, 10 million subs, they don't really care what 1 or 2 people say about them. Yeah. He whines hardcore on Twitter. Okay, well, Twitter's not a real place. You can't convince me otherwise. Anyway, we'll go back to this.
But I've stated that many times now. I don't feel like I need to state it anymore. I've said it literally almost every time someone's asked me. As a matter of fact, I was talking to one of my buddies. You guys might remember Michael Border. Yeah, about several weeks back, I messaged him, seeing how he's doing. He used to do the channel with me, and he had no idea how far I've come. And I told him I did a collaboration with Overnight. He was thrilled. It was one of the first things I decided to brag about because I'm so proud I went out and did it. So I'm not out here shit-talking Elton. I'm not out here doing this stuff. And if you take criticisms and maybe some opinions as, like, attacking somebody, then maybe raise your thing. It's not like I'm sitting out here, saying shit along the lines of, like, Elton's a piece of shit, yada, 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 yada. I will say I am not happy with the guy at the moment. That's as far as I'll take it right now. It's a personal reason, and maybe at some point I will share why I feel this way. But for right now, the guy seems like he has a lot going on.
What's that? Let's roll that back a second. What'd you say?
No reason, and maybe at some point I will share why I
No,
feel
back
I'm not happy with
further.
the guy at the moment.
Oh no. So yeah, take note. Jake Arts here states he's not happy with Elton at the moment, but he's not going to reveal why.
That's as far as I'll take it right now.
Which, respectfully, that's all up to him. But as I said, if it happens in private, it can stay in private.
It's a personal reason, and maybe at some point I will share why I feel this way. But for right now, the guy seems like he has a lot going on. Seems like he has a lot going on. And I think it's affecting his overall judgments of things. And I think he's just...
Now, I will critique Jake Arts a little bit here with this. I don't think it's necessarily completely fair. I understand the sentiment, but I don't think it's fair for Elton to go and say that something must be happening in Seg's personal life for him to be this way. And then Jake Arts says, well, Elton must have something happening in his personal life for him to be acting this way. And it be condemned for saying. I just want to point that out. I understand Jordan's sentiment here. I really do get it. It's passive aggressive in the way like you want to give people the benefit of the doubt, where Elton does come off more just aggressive. But that's also tone. That's also what we know about Elton, how we feel personally about Elton. But I will say I don't think it's the most fair argument to make. But I understand, if that makes sense. I just do want to say that.
He has a short fuse at the moment. And I'm not going to take it any farther than that. Yeah, I just want to let everybody know that I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible here. I'm trying to give everybody a fair chance. And look, if that article is any ounce of true, and I'm not just going to sit here and call the neighbor a liar, well, then I got to look at that as like, okay, well, if that is in fact true, yeah, that wasn't a good look for Elton. But that's basically all I'd say. It's like, if he is in fact responsible for doing these kind of things behind the scenes.
And once again, a very soft take. To just be like, this person could have been nicer. The softest of takes.
Like I said about Jason, if he was doing kind of some shady shit behind the scenes, I would have said something. But I'm trying to give them both a fair shot. If I didn't say anything about this, people would have automatically went to the assumption that I'm just remaining biased to Elton. And that's not what I like. I'm just here to give my thoughts and opinions about things that are related to the Conjuring House. And we're probably going to be seeing more here soon. As a matter of fact, I probably have another video coming out because Jason has been making some interesting posts over on social media, Facebook. And if there's any ounce of truth to what is about to come out, well, then obviously this is going to make Elton look a little worse. And who knows? Who knows what is presented? But there was rumors and speculation that there's going to be documents behind it. And we all know how I feel about receipts. Receipts are a big fucking thing. Anyways, I just wanted to go ahead and clarify something. I'm not out here trying to attack Elton, everybody. I'm trying to make it as fair as possible. And either you...
Jake Arts being the Salt Lake City meme. Receipts! Timelines! Screenshots! Everything! I like Real Housewives.
respect that, or you just don't. Talking about one side of things and not the other side of things, I feel like is the pure definition of being biased to somebody. And that's not what I'm trying to be about. I gotta be honest with myself, you know? Anyways, let me know what you think down in the comment section. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't go over, don't give Jason or Elton hate. This is just an opinionated video, and that's all I'm trying to do.
We don't tap the glass. We don't touch the poop. We don't harass. That goes for everyone here too. Don't be going to anybody and saying anything. Calm down. We're having a little get together here. We don't need to be going and spreading stuff. We don't need to be doing that. Just keep it here. We're amongst friends. I'm telling secrets. I'm just having a chat with you. Don't be going out and annoying people. And if you do, if I find out, I'll block you in every place that I can. You will not have access to me. Just remember that. Don't harass people.
Thank you for watching. I appreciate every single one of you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I appreciate you too. Okay. So I've been mentioning, and I'll say it again, I kind of really hate that this video even had to be made on Jake Arts' end, in the way that, like, I don't think doing a collaboration with a person means that you are indebted or loyal to them. Well, you are indebted in the way that, like, you should share it out, but, like, past that, there's nothing. Like, once you've done it, you've done it. You don't have to owe anybody anything. It should be how they treat you and how they maintain treating you. Oh, Stage Rat, thank you. Don't forget to pay your rent, everybody. How do you pay rent here at Ladies Fright? It's really easy. Just like the stream, and you can get 10%. 10% of what? I'll tell you a little bit more later about that at the end.
So the other day I posted a video. I mean, not even a video, sorry.
Oh, sorry. So then Jason comes out a few days later, and this is the video that he has.
Image. And, oh, here, you know what? This is what it was. So the attempt to claim a trademark when you don't own the property. How an LLC filed to own a name tied to a property it doesn't own. And it's important. I mean, this is a catchy title, and there's a lot of stuff I'm going to show you, which is going to give you the ability to honestly look up and find out the LLCs, who's behind the LLCs, and see what they're actually doing. And why this is really important to us. So this isn't going to be your typical Monday night investigation video, sorry, but it is an investigation video because I think you all are the best investigators when it comes down to this one. And you guys get to see the stuff that we've been dealing with that we haven't talked about. While we've been fighting this whole thing, this whole court battle, trying to close on the Conjuring House, which, you know, is still being held up, there's a whole other battle that we've been having to deal with in the background that we haven't talked about. But I want to show you guys the information and let you draw your own conclusions and go from there. So, because I think it's important, because this can happen to anybody. This can happen to any small business. This could happen to anybody in the field. Somebody trying to claim a name and file a trademark, claiming a name when they don't own something, and then using...
All while using images and videos of property they do not own to support their claim.
Incorrect information, as if they did. So...
I think I can put him at 2x speed. I think we can put him to 2x speed and we can understand him.
I'm going to show you that. So here we go. All right, so companies involved. So there's two different companies involved here. One is Haunted Homes LLC. Now,
okay, and we've already, you can't see it because I'm blocking it. It says Summit and Stone LLC. We already know that's Elton.
That might sound familiar to you all. They're a Connecticut LLC, registered in 2025. Now, this company, Haunted Homes LLC, is the ones who purchased the Warrens house in Monroe, Connecticut. Also run the Annabelle doll and stuff. But so the company, Haunted Homes LLC, is the one who owns the Warrens home, the Annabelle doll. You guys can go from there.
They don't own the Annabelle doll. He corrects it. He says they lease it.
But they filed a trademark.
I don't own Annabelle. I rent.
Filed for a trademark to try to control the name. Get this, Conjuring House. This is no joke. Haunted Homes LLC has filed a USPTO trademark in hopes of controlling the name Conjuring House. Summit and Stone LLC, Rhode Island-based LLC. Now they're the ones who, if anybody remembers, back in October, when the Conjuring House, Arnold Estate, was supposed to go up for sale, the auction was called off, and nobody knew what happened. Everybody was asking everyone if they had something to do with it, and everybody out there denied knowing anything about who purchased the debt. And I mean, everybody out there claimed they didn't know who purchased the debt. Come to find out, it was an LLC by the name of Summit and Stone. Now, on the other side of the page, you can look up Haunted Homes LLC, search the Connecticut Business Registry, type in that name, and go through the documents and see who owns Haunted Homes LLC or who's running Haunted Homes LLC. And below that, you can go to the Rhode Island Business Registry page, and you can look up who owns Summit and Stone LLC. Just go to that page and type in that name, and then go to the PDFs and look up who is the managing members of these LLCs. So now,
which we do have those, and thank you to Oh, we already read that. Goodbye. Goodbye. Here we go. We have these here. As you can see, Summit and Stone, contact name, Elton. Registered Agent Solutions, Elton. Haunted Homes LLC, Principal, Elton. Kick and Wing LLC, Elton. And manager, Elton. Haunted Homes LLC. Oh, maybe I got this in the wrong order. But yes. It's Elton all the way down.
Now, the thing with Haunted Homes LLC, the one who owns the Warrens house and the Annabelle doll, I want you to look this up on your own because I want you guys to see the people's names or the person's name. That way you guys can put it all together. So Haunted Homes LLC filed USPTO trademark number 99449309 for the name Conjuring House. And this was filed about a month and change after Summit and Stone, which is the other LLC, purchased the debt for the Conjuring House. Now, Haunted Homes LLC filed for Conjuring House name without owning the Rhode Island property. Now, we all know that the Conjuring House, whether we want to call it that or not, the Arnold Estate / the Conjuring House, is the old farmhouse in Burrillville, Rhode Island, which has that name since the movie came out in 2013. Again, you can pause this video, you can look up the Connecticut Business Registry, who runs Haunted Homes LLC.
Which we just did. And yeah, I want to say again, the whole point of me talking about this is to determine if Elton seems sneaky. Maybe is not morally the best person. Which, like, most people are not morally the best person. So, like, it's kind of a low bar. But, yeah. Owning the debt to something. And then taking the name seems like another way to profit off of the Conjuring House. Again.
And you can also check out Rhode Island Business Registry and who owns Summit and Stone LLC.
If not to just profit off the Conjuring House, it feels like a move to spite Jason so that he is not able to profit once buying the house.
Right there, the links are there. Again, Haunted Homes filed for the trademark Conjuring House without owning the property. Summit and Stone is the company that bought the mortgage, that bought the debt for the Conjuring House. So two different LLCs working in conjunction. All right? So why this means a lot, because first off, let me just explain before we go to the next slide. If they're able to trademark the name Conjuring House, the problems are that, first off, it shuts down the GoFundMe. You can't have Save the Conjuring House if they own the name Conjuring House. You can't sell t-shirts that say Conjuring House if they own the name Conjuring House. You can't have a website, Conjuring House, if they own the name Conjuring House.
And I went and I looked up the Conjuring House today, and the website that comes up is the website that Jason's going to mention here. Takes you to conjuringhouses.com. It's the first Google source.
But they don't own the property. So in this next slide, let's talk about the trademark real quick before we get into some really interesting stuff. So the trademark, again, right above my head, you can go to tsdr.uspto.gov. Feel free to pause the video and just type in the serial number 99449309. It'll bring up all the documents filed by Haunted Homes LLC in hopes of acquiring the name Conjuring House. And it's under the international class of 041 Entertainment Services, conducting guided tours of haunted houses, of a haunted house, museum of the occult, museum services, and exhibiting to the public historic sites. Claimed first use. This is where it gets interesting. So Haunted Homes LLC is claiming first use of Conjuring House in October of 2013. So 13 years ago. Problem is, the motion picture, The Conjuring, was released in September of 2013 and is widely credited for bringing public attention to the property in Burrillville that most people call the Conjuring House now. So they're claiming that they've used this name since 2013, literally right after the movie came out. Okay? And that raises serious questions about the filing, because the name Conjuring House has been used publicly since 2013 and commercially by multiple parties over the years. The trademark application was filed by an LLC that does not hold the title to the property or have any association with the name. The applications become the subject of a formal trademark opposition where these and other issues are being contested. So now we've had to turn in an opposition to their claim in an evidence packet. Now, this is the federal government. Trademark authority is the federal government. So you want to make sure you have all your information correct when you're dealing with the federal government. So we've had to turn in an opposition and evidence packet to show that they don't own the house. Even though, and we're going to get into this, even though they're using a website that was created after finding out that I had a signed deed that we were waiting to close as evidence that they should have some sort of justification to own the name. And the website they're using is videos and images of the actual Arnold Estate Conjuring House, which, again, they don't own. So this is 100%, if you can't get the property, take the name. And that creates a serious problem. Because, again, if you take the name, you take away the ability that this property has to survive, to provide for itself. You take away the GoFundMe that thousands of people have come together to make happen. You take away the ability to sell t-shirts, to have a website, to have all these things that tie that name to that property. And this is something that can happen to anybody. And it's one of those things where control the property, control the name. If you can't control the property, but you can control the name, then you can sink the property. And, you know, it's horrible to think, but if they can.
Well, yeah, it also, as I mentioned with the rerouting of internet hits, like it takes away business from the Conjuring House because that's how people know it. That's what's popularly known as. People who are not up to date, the layman, the normie, if you want to call it. I had a coworker who did like a haunted road trip, and they went to like different locations on the East Coast, and this was 2 years ago. It was right about the time where like the house was closing because it like lost its license. And like she told me like, oh yeah, we're planning on going to the Conjuring house. She to write the Arnold property, the Burville place, the Round Top Road. It's just called the Conjuring house. And interestingly enough, I'm doing an episode that's going to come out not this week, obviously next week. And it talked about copyright in there of something that was highly popular. And it's just like amazing to me how we had to skirt around using this popular thing because it was copyrighted. And this is and I am going to go in the little bit more boring part of this stream. I'm going to talk about the difference between copyright and trademark, because there's a major difference. And I see some people saying like, oh, like copyright, yada, yada. It's not a copyright. It's a trademark. It is different.
Control the name. They can shut down everything else. Everything that we've tried to do as a community, they can shut down. Think of that. Let that sink in on the extent that people are willing to go to get their way. I mean, that is amazing. And that's why you really need to look back at the LLCs and who runs them. And then go from there on your own opinions or your thoughts. And yeah. So again, the name Conjuring House has been publicly used since 2013 and commercially by multiple parties over the years. The trademark application was filed by an LLC that does not hold title to the property or association with the name. The application has become the subject of formal trademark opposition where these and other issues are being contested. And that's with the federal government. So make sure when you're looking up this, when you go on this webpage right here and you look up that serial number, look at all the documents that have been filed. Look at all the claims. Initially they were trying to file the name The Conjuring House, but you can't trademark the. And then it was shot down because the specimen they were using was an image of the Arnold estate, the Conjuring House. And it was an AI image. And they had linked it to, they had actually used it. It was from a website, some Boston Ghost Tour website. And that got shut down. So then after that, knowing that I was waiting to close, this website popped up. So, domain comparison. The original.
So once again, Jason tries to make a move to get this house. The first time it went about, all of a sudden his sister comes out of the woodworks. Now this time he's trying to do it, and this website's coming out of the woodworks.
Website. The original website for the house was theconjuringhouse.com. That was the original website. It, of course, covered the house in Burville, Rhode Island, the actual property, original domain used by the property owners, an established brand name in continuous use since 2013. But strangely, a website popped up, and it was Conjuring Houses, just add an S on the end, .com.
Which, like, what does that mean? What do you mean houses? What do you mean? It sounds like someone is going to build stuff on the property. Or is the Conjuring going to become, like, townhouses? They just make it townhouses. That's a joke, guys. That's not real. I'm being silly. Doug, it's almost like Elton is aggressively blocking Jason in any way he can. Oh, yeah. You said it, not me.
Separate domain, no association. And that's the site that Haunted Homes LLC used for their trademark application. It's not owned or authorized by the property owner. It's using photographs of the Conjuring House property. All images are from the original Conjuring House page. So everything that was on that original page has been put on that page now. And the domain was registered after I had a deed and after we were supposed to close. And I'll show you those timelines in just a second. But again, what the lookalike site contains: photographs of the actual Burrowville farmhouse without any ownership. The Conjuring House branding throughout the whole thing. The name, logo, the identity, and even a copyright notice at the bottom of it, claiming 2026. So, and it's not the official site, but it's a site that was created and used in hopes of trademarking the name Conjuring House. So here's the timeline of it all. So the Conjuring House trademark and property timeline. August in 2025, the Warrens house was acquired. Haunted Homes LLC buys the Warrens home in Monroe, Connecticut. September 12th, 2025, Summit and Stone LLC was formed. So it was formed shortly before acquiring the mortgage on the Conjuring House, the Arnold estate. Public records indicate the company that had recently been established at the time of the purchase. October of 2025, mortgage purchased. Summit and Stone LLC acquires the mortgage from Needham Bank. Halloween auctions canceled. All competing buyers were blocked, including myself. Now, and again, that takes us back to everybody was saying, I don't know what happened. News had contacted me, it contacted certain other individuals. We were all like, no, it wasn't us. And come to find out, that wasn't accurate. So, again, that was October of 2025. November of 2025, trademark application is filed. And that was right about the same time that they saw, that it was certain individuals or LLCs were notified that we had a deed and a purchase and sales agreement. That would have been to Summit and Stone. But then Haunted Homes LLC files for the trademark Conjuring House. Again, right after they had realized that I had a signed deed and purchase and sales agreement. So December 5th, that was the day we were supposed to close on Conjuring House. Instead of closing on the house and getting the payoff that we requested, the payoff never showed. What did show was a lawsuit from an estranged sister who lives on the other side of the country, who randomly, magically found out that we had a purchase and sales agreement. But we won't get into how she found that out. That's actually for another case that we have coming up in August.
The plot thickens. Maybe we'll find out more by September at the very least.
And that case will be very enlightening for many people because, and there's a lot of people who haven't been named yet who will be named soon. And because there were a lot of people who had their hands in the pot on that one, whether it be people trying to show up and get somebody to change their story, that list goes on and on. So again, we were supposed to close December 5th and we couldn't because we didn't get the payoff that legally should have been given to us. No, instead we got a lawsuit, which took the next 5-6 months for us to beat. So that brings us to December 9th of 2025. 5 days or 4 days after we were supposed to close. So 4
it's 4 days after we're supposed to close, the new webcam domain is registered.
days after we were supposed to close, conjuringhouses.com becomes registered. Who is records confirm conjuringhouses.com, domain registered December 9th, 2025. Again, 4 days after we were supposed to close. An LLC registered, a new web domain. January 18th, 2026, a month and a half after we were supposed to close, and we were tied up in court. Conjuringhouses.com goes live, using images and videos from the original site, The Conjuring House. So, again, January 18th of 2026, a month and a half after we were supposed to close on this property and we were battling it out in court, conjuringhouses.com goes live, using all the images and videos that were on the original site. So, and just to make everybody aware, we did initially reach out to the person who hosted the original.
And I'm just going to say, like, I can't think of a good reason to do this. Like, I can't think of anything that is not trying to manipulate the situation either in your favor for money or pettiness. I can't think of a good moral reason why you would buy this domain name. I really can't. Doesn't seem like Elton should get this all worked out before the Warren Museum comes to Salem August 29th. I think he should get a lot worked out before he moves to Salem for his pop-up museum that's only supposed to be there several months. He is moving to Salem. Now, could they be getting a short-term rental? Possibly. I personally wouldn't use the term moving then. I wouldn't make a whole post about it on Instagram. If I was just going to work managerially, I don't think they said they were moving to Connecticut when they bought the Warren house and worked on it. So I don't know why that terminology was used. I could be wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong and they did say they were moving to Connecticut when they bought the Warren Museum.
Site. So we haven't spoken to it recently, but at that time, it was not authorized. There was no reason that site should have all those images and all that video and all that stuff. So again, a month and a half after we were supposed to close, that site went live. April 29th, 2026, we beat all the cases. We win in court. So all the lawsuits shut down. That clears the way for us to be able to close on the property. So, and that was 6 months of hell, going back and forth and being in court all the time. And, it happens, but we won. We won it all. But here we are in June 2026. In June 2026, 8 months later, from when we were supposed to close, we still have not received the payoff amount. We have not been told who to pay. And we've requested the payoff amount every week. Which, think of that. If you owned a home, you bought a home from a bank, and you were paying the bank, and you decided, I'm going to pay off the house. And you sent a message to the bank. By law, there's only so many days before you're supposed to have that payoff. We've been waiting since December 5th. Actually, prior to that, because we started requesting it in November. So, December 5th. So we've gone 8 months, and we still haven't been able to get this payoff, or who to pay. And to top it all off, and we won't even get into the details on it, but there's a whole back and forth thing that, now, we don't know if we own it, we don't know if we own it. So and that's the stuff we're dealing with now. We'll let a court handle that. But now, June of 2026, again, 8 months since we were supposed to close, trademark attempt continues. Application remains pending. So Haunted Homes LLC is still, and I said still, attempting to trademark the Conjuring House name, despite not owning the property, despite using images of the property that it does not own. So using the image of that property and trying to claim the name as if they own the property, which they don't. So think of that. Now, all that is, it's derived, it's all publicly available, corporate filings. You can see it all. This is not hearsay. This is nothing. Everything I'm putting here, you guys can look up online.
And frankly, suppose I see you say it just feels like an attempt to monopolize the paranormal. I don't know if I would say monopolize, but it's certainly a way to capitalize on it. this was done when Zach Baggins bought the Demon home and then knocked it down. But also, you know, you have Sam and Kobe who bought a property. The twins apparently just bought a property. Things get weird when people start becoming landlords of things. That's all I'm gonna say. People it gets kind of weird. I don't know. I don't like it.
And draw your own conclusions. You can look up who's behind the LLCs. You can look up the trademark application, everything they've put in on that application, and go from there. All right, so let's look at this. So the two LLCs map. So two companies appearing in the same timeline of events. Okay, company one, trademark applicants, Haunted Homes LLC. They own the Warren's house. They own the Annabelle doll. They have no property in Rhode Island, according to the LLC. It does not own the Burrillville house, but they filed for the trademark Conjuring House, using images of the Conjuring House. Company two, the mortgage holder, Summit and Stone, purchased the debt from Needham Bank, canceled the Halloween auction, blocked all competing buyers, don't own the property, only hold the debt, no title to the property, nothing. So one LLC acquires the mortgage, another LLC files the trademark application. So in other words, you've got two fronts you're fighting. You're fighting for the house and you're fighting for the name. But you're not fighting the same company, so that way you can go to court twice as much. So there you go. So one LLC acquires the mortgage, the other LLC files a trademark. They hope to bleed you dry. Not going to happen, but that's the intentions there on that. So using a lookalike domain, conjuringhouses.com, operating with images of what is known to be the Conjuring House. Now we've already filled out our opposition packet, our evidence packet. That's all with the federal government. We have attorneys also on standby waiting. But these are the things that it's not like we've put out there publicly. We've been trying to handle a lot of this stuff quietly in the background because we don't want people to think, oh, it's getting to them. It's getting to them. No, it's not. Of course, it's annoying, and you wonder, is it ever going to stop? And I'm not sure it will. But that's what August is for. Because in August, hopefully we'll be closing on this property soon. But in August, we start holding these LLCs and the individuals behind these LLCs accountable for their actions. But again, you can check out both these LLCs and who runs them. Haunted Homes LLC is out of Connecticut, Summit Stone LLC out of Rhode Island. Look at who the managing member is or members, and you can draw your conclusion on that one. Review the records. Like I said, here's the Connecticut Business Registry, the Rhode Island Business Registry, and the USPTO trademark. And now you can pause this page, screenshot it, do whatever you want to do so you can go.
Which we've already looked at.
Go and research this stuff yourself. Because it comes down to people, LLCs, I'm going to call them LLCs, need to be held accountable for their actions. And the people behind those LLCs, the managing members behind them, I want people to see the true colors of what's going on. This isn't misinformation or made up stories like certain individuals want to claim. These documents were filed by those individuals, and it's their names, it's their documents. So, there's no false information here. Bottom line is the proof is in what was turned in. The proof is in what you wrote, what you stated, what you claimed. That's the proof. So people want to claim that, oh, this isn't real, this is a facade, this is fake. No, people can say that because they're online and they want people to believe them. But when you see the actual documents and the information that they put out there and what they're doing, there's nothing fake or there's no misinformation about it. These were choices that those people made, that those LLCs, those people behind the LLCs made. These are their own words, their own writings. So when it comes down to it, whether it's the federal government or whether it's the courts, they need to be held accountable to the things that they've said, they've done, they've written. And we plan to do that. This didn't need to go this route. I did not plan on the Conjuring House being part of my 2025 and 2026 bucket list. This was something that was requested by a friend, somebody I hold dearly, and requested by numerous people in the community. And the community stepped forward. I stepped forward. The community stepped forward. Thousands, and I mean thousands of us stepped forward to make this happen. And every step of the way, somebody has thrown a kink in that chain. Some LLC has thrown a kink in that chain to try to stop it, to try to hold it up, and to try to take a name in hopes of what? Shutting down the GoFundMe, shutting down the ability to sell T-shirts, to stop the ability of us having a website, to redirecting traffic from what would have been our website to somebody else's website. If that's what this is all about, the money, then that's just sad. That's a sad place to be. I understand everybody needs to make a living, but you don't need to screw everybody else in order to do it.
I think part of it's the money. I think a lot of it is the notoriety. Based on how Elton has seemingly tried to control his reputation online through confronting people who have opposition to him. Seg being an example. I know he left a comment on Beardo's thing. It seems to go past just defending himself and his character to demanding that there be no criticism of him. Which, as I mentioned before, is very, very odd considering like, no offense, like Seg and Beardo are small fries compared to like Jesse Smiles saying something about him. And you know what? In fairness, I didn't look. Maybe he did say something in their comments that one time. But yeah, it feels weird to have such a hyper focus on this. And it makes me wonder if something else is on the line. Because even like with Matt Rife on, I know like he talked to Theo Vaughn recently about the Conjuring stuff, and I didn't get to go through it. Matt is a whole other ethical beast. I'll just say it this much. I respect Matt Rife's wishes to not want a female audience and to not find him attractive. I respect it. I'm not his audience. But yeah, it feels like, I don't know, maybe there's a reason to go so hard and to have a narrative play out this way.
I mean, people are trying to save something. People are on a mission to save a property that's sat for 2 years, through winters, through summers, that we've been taking care of for 8+ months. And all we want to do is fix the property up, get it open, let people go there. This shouldn't be this big of an issue. It never should have been this big of an issue. This field,
if I can't have her, nobody can,
does not need this drama, this headache, all these issues that are thrown in that certain individuals seem to bring with them. I mean, if every other business you can, or just not being able to let something go. I don't know. You tell me. I've been open. I've been 100% transparent. I love this field.
Like, I do wonder if there's a bit of jealousy that Elton has, that Jason comes off very reasonable, seems like very much beloved, seems like when he does get criticized, comes back with grace, and the audience in return gives him more grace. He is also probably, and maybe this is like me being colored by the bubble that I'm in, but like Jason comes off more as an elder in the field and more knowledgeable in the field of ghost hunting in general than Elton does. And I wonder if there's like some jealousy there.
Involved in this field for over 30 years of my life. I've dedicated so much of my life to it. I didn't jump in this field to make a buck. I didn't jump in this. I did this field 15 years prior to ever being on television. So if this is just a cash cow or a money grab, well, then find a different field, because that's not what this is about to the majority of us. I understand everybody needs to make a living, but you don't need to screw everybody else in the process. Please check this stuff out yourself. See who's behind this stuff. Be public about it. Because people need to be held accountable for their actions. And if people are going to be this kind of people, do we really want them to represent us? Bottom line, we just want to close in this house. We just want to get this house open. And we want people to be able to go there and enjoy it. And just because you're not going to be the one that owns it doesn't mean that it doesn't have the right to exist. Stay safe, keep it real, and on to the next, everyone.
Okay. So Jason put that out. And then just quickly before we move on, I just really want to go over, I found this LegalZoom article about trademark versus copyright, which is right for you. Because I do see people throwing around the word copyright, and that is not correct. If you have created an intellectual property, establishing legal protections can help prevent others from using your assets without your permission. Intellectual property protections generally also give you the exclusive rights to profit from your creations. While intellectual property can be tricky to understand, navigating it properly can mean the difference between waging a vicious court battle to protect your legal interests and quietly enjoying the fruits of your creative labors. Copyrights and trademarks are two of the most frequently confused intellectual property rights. If you are in the business of creating unique goods for placement in the stream of commerce, it is essential that you understand the difference between the two. Follow along to learn more about what each of these protections offer and how to apply for them. So, copyright and trademarks defined. Copyrights and trademarks protect distinct creations. Although they're often confused, there are some major differences between a trademark and a copyright. Generally, copyrights protect creative works like books, music, and movies, while trademarks protect the assets that businesses use to establish their identity in the marketplace, like brand names, slogans, and logos. In fact, the two protections are so legally distinct that they are managed by two different offices within the federal government. Trademarks fall under the auspices of the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, USPTO, while the copyright is granted by the U.S. Copyright Office. What is a copyright? Copyrights primarily protect the rights of people who create literary, dramatic, musical, artistic, and certain other original works, like history tests and software code. Okay, I didn't know history tests could be copyrighted. According to the U.S. Copyright Office, copyrights are designed for, quote-unquote, work in tangible form of expression, which could range from photographs, and musical composition to computer programs, movies, architectural work, and more. For example, the Walt Disney Company owns the copyright to all Star Wars movies. Paul McCartney owns the copyright to the song Hey Jude, and Lin-Manuel Miranda owns the copyright to Hamilton play. Hamilton. Don't strike me. I know that was so good that you couldn't tell the difference between me and Lin-Manuel. As soon as you create work, you should immediately use the copyright symbol and the letter C with a circle around it to indicate that your intellectual property registered with the USCO solidifies and formalize this fact. What is a trademark? While copyrights protect creative works, trademarks provide you with exclusive rights to specific words or symbols associated with your business. Trademarks can protect the use of a company's name and protect its name's brand identity, like logos and slogans. So logos and slogans are trademarked as well as names of companies. Some popular examples of trademark include McDonald's Golden Arches that form the letter M, Apple's name and signature fruit logo, and Allstate slogan, you're in good hands. Trademarks registered by the United States Patent and Trademark Office may feature the registered trademark symbol, which is the letter R with the circle around it. So, okay, what does copyright protect? Well, clearly there are some gray areas. Copyright protections come down to one simple principle. Copyright protects original works of authorship. This means names, ideas, concepts, and methods of operation are excluded from the copyright protection. So there was something that was happening in like January. Some drama happening in January. And someone was trying to copyright their name. They should have gone to LegalZoom. You can't do that. That's a trademark, buddy. Let's go down here. Just what does trademark protect? Created by the Congress in 1946, the legal protection of trademarks are much newer than copyrights. Although commonly viewed as protection for companies and their commercial interests, at the time they were legislated, trademarks were seen as protection for consumers as well. The order to protect the interests of the buyer, a trademark prohibits the use of a known mark or brand by a person other than the trademark holder. The court also looks at whether or not a consumer is likely to be confused by the use of the brand or symbol. This means that trademark protections extend to names, symbols, slogans, and even sounds and colors representing a company's brand identity. For instance, CBS trademarked the ticking stopwatch sound you hear during its 60 Minutes series, while Mattel trademarked the color Barbie pink, which is Pantone 219C. Therefore, other businesses cannot use that specific ticking sound or exact color without facing trademark infringement liability. So 3 requirements for copyright: originality, creativity, fixation. 3 requirements for trademark: distinctiveness, uniqueness, commercial use. So just to go through these. Distinctiveness. The mark must be distinguishable enough that the consumers can associate it with your business as the source of goods or services. It should be distinct and identifiable. When measuring the distinctness of your mark, the trademark office recommends selecting something fanciful, arbitrary, or suggestive that is not deceptive or generic. Not deceptive. Uniqueness. The mark cannot conflict with already registered trademarks. If it is too similar to another brand's trademark, it may cause confusion among consumers. So the trademark office won't accept it. And then commercial use. Trademarks are designed to be used in commerce. So you must be using it in a conjunction with your business or brand. You cannot trademark name, symbol, or phrase simply because you want to protect it for personal use. And then it's how to apply. We don't need to know how to apply. We could read about infringement, but I didn't want to. Take that. Checkmate, atheists. So then, a couple of days ago, actually, yesterday, 2 days ago? I think it might have been 2 days ago. Andrew Stonerock came out with a video and really breaks it down, and I think it gives probably better example of what's happening than I do. But also something interesting comes up in this video, so...
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, or if it's the first time here, welcome to the channel. My name is Andrew, and today we're talking about the current trademark war that's going on for the Conjuring House. I went and I've talked to Jason Hawes about it. I've also talked to Elton Castell. I've got his take on the whole thing. I have thoughts on it that I wrote into the script, so you guys are gonna hear about that. But first, since this is a re-upload, this is a re-record rather, and then I'm gonna have to re-upload it. There was some audio-visual bugs on the first one. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is. I couldn't get rid of them because they were just baked in.
That's just the way it is. Things will never be the same.
The camera with the autofocus, it turned itself back on and stuff like that. And it was just kind of pixelated a little bit. And there was an audio bug where, for some reason, it was doubling my voice on YouTube. I don't know if that was an actual YouTube bug or if that was in the video itself. I just thought it safer to go ahead, re-record, re-edit, and we'll go again. So without any further ado, crack you open something to drink, and let's get into it. Monster Nitro, by the way. It's just like orange juice. All right.
Which, by the way, I said this in the comments. Setup looks great. Love it.
War for the Conjuring House. Trademark war. For years, the Conjuring House has been one of the most famous paranormal locations in the world. Millions of people know the name. Investigators have traveled there. Tourists have paid to visit. And countless YouTube videos, documentaries, television shows, and news reports have used the same phrase. The Conjuring House. Told you that today there is an active legal battle over who owns that name. Not the house. Not the land. Not the mortgage. But...
I agree, Frank. He does have a really nice deep voice. It's very nice to listen to, which is great when you make content creations.
The name, the Conjuring House. And according to the public trademark filings, court records, corporate registrations, and domain records, the fight has become one of the strangest legal battles the paranormal world has ever seen. And at the center of the dispute is a federal trademark application filed in October 2025, an application that claims commercial use of the phrase Conjuring House dating back to at least October 1st, 2015. But there's just one problem. According to the historical timeline of the property, the house wasn't operating ghost tours in 2015. It wasn't operating as a museum. It wasn't operating as an overnight paranormal experience. It wasn't even operating as a public attraction at all. Instead, it was a private residence. So, where did those claimed trademark rights come from? That's the question at the center of this story. And to answer it, we'll have to go back to the beginning. Act 1, the icon. Long before the lawsuits, the LLCs, the trademark filings, and the court battles, there was simply an old farmhouse in Burrillville, Rhode Island. Historically known as the Arnold Estate, the property has existed for centuries. For decades, it was a simple private home. That changed in 2013. When Warner Bros. Released The Conjuring House, the farmhouse became internationally famous overnight. Whether you believe the ghosts or not, the impact of the film is impossible to deny. The movie became a massive success. The location became a destination. And perhaps most importantly, the public began referring to the property by a new name, The Conjuring House. This wasn't the result of a trademark filing. It wasn't the end result of a marketing campaign. It was simply the name people adopted. News articles used it, television shows used it, paranormal investigators used it, fans used it. The phrase became synonymous with the property itself. At the time, however, the owners were not operating a paranormal attraction. Norma Sutcliffe and Gerald Helfrich lived in the home as a private residence. In fact, the attention created serious problems. According to public reporting, the owners faced trespassing issues and unwanted visitors as curiosity surrounding the property exploded following the film's release.
If you go to my episode where I talk about like the ethics of doing residential hauntings, Kenny also brings up having conversations with these owners and like how bad it was getting.
Despite the property's growing fame, there were no commercial ghost tours operating there in 2013. No museum, no public overnight investigations, no paranormal businesses. Just a private home that had suddenly become one of the most recognizable haunted locations in America. And that fact becomes critically important later, because while the public may have known the property as the Conjuring House, the question isn't whether the name existed. The question is who was using it commercially. And that's where our story begins to get complicated. Act 2, the land grab. To understand how a trademark dispute emerged around the Conjuring House, we first need to understand what was happening with the property itself. In 2019, paranormal investigators Corey and Jennifer Heinzen purchased the home and transformed it into a commercial paranormal destination. For the first time, visitors could book investigations. Tours became available. The farmhouse had evolved from a private residence into a business. And importantly, it operated publicly under the name the people had already come to know, the Conjuring House. 3 years later, in 2022, the property had changed hands again. Boston real estate developer Jacqueline Nunez acquired the property through her company, Balefire LLC. The operation expanded, events increased, the property's visibility continued to grow, but behind the scenes, financially, problems were beginning to emerge. By 2025, those problems had become impossible to ignore. The property was facing foreclosure. A public auction was scheduled, and that's when a new player entered the story. On October 8th, 2025, a Rhode Island company called Summit & Stone LLC purchased the property's underlying mortgage note. The company was connected to YouTube personality Elton Castee. At first glance, many people assumed this meant that Elton had purchased a house. But that's not what happened. He purchased the debt, and in real estate law, debt and ownership are not the same thing. One controls the loan, and the other controls the deed. This distinction would soon become the center of a growing legal war, because while Summit & Stone was acquiring the mortgage, another transaction was taking place. Ghost Hunters founder Jason Hawes was pursuing a purchase agreement directly tied to ownership of the property itself. The result? Two separate interests now existed. One side held the debt, the other side claimed ownership through deed transaction. And then, only days later, something else appeared, a federal trademark application. Act 3, the claim. On October 17, 2025, an application was submitted to the United States Patent and Trademark Office. The mark being claimed was simple, Conjuring House, because you can't trademark the word the. The applicant was listed as Haunted Homes LLC. The filing sought protection for 2 categories of service, Class 041, ghost tours, historical site tours, museum services, occult exhibitions, and Class 043, temporary accommodations, hotel-style lodging. The application itself wasn't unusual. Businesses file trademarks every day. What made this filing different were the dates. According to the application, the mark had first been used as early as October 1st, 2013. The filing further claimed first use in commerce as early as October 1st, 2015. Those dates would become the foundation of everything that followed, because trademark priority is often based on who used a mark first, not who filed it, not who bought a property first, but who used it first. The filing was submitted under Section 1A, meaning the applicant was declaring that the mark was already being used in commerce. The application was signed and submitted under oath. And shortly after publication, it drew immediate attention. Act 5, a website owned by Haunted Homes LLC. Instead, the filing references a page hosted by bostonghosts.com. The application describing this page as an example of use of the mark in commerce. That immediately raised questions from opponents of the filing. Why? Because trademark law generally requires applicants to demonstrate their use of the mark in commerce, not simply the existence of a mark on a third-party website.
So this is what we're talking about, where it has to be put into use. So the website is being used as the quote-unquote product. You see? You see? It feels sneaky. It feels real sneaky, doesn't it? Because he didn't have to make a website, did he? Did he? He didn't have to.
Filing also contains a federal declaration signed under penalty of law, affirming that the facts contained within the application are believed to be accurate. At this point, the dispute was no longer about whether the filing existed, because it clearly did. The question became whether the evidence submitted actually supported the claims being made. And that brings us to the timeline. Act 5. The timeline. Remember those dates, October 1st, 2013 and October 1st, 2015, because everything hinges on them. Let's compare the filings to the historical record. The application claims first commercial use by October 2015. So, what was happening at the property in October 2015? The answer appears straightforward. The home was owned by Norma Sutcliffe and Gerald Helfrich. It functioned as a private residence. The property was not operating public ghost tours. It was not functioning as a museum. It was not operating overnight paranormal experiences. And it was not operating as a commercial haunted attraction. At that time, the farmhouse was still years away from becoming a paranormal tourism destination. The Heinzens would not purchase the property until 2019. The commercial attraction most people know today did not yet exist, which creates an obvious question. If commercial ghost services were being offered under the name Conjuring House in 2015, who was offering them? Where were the tours? And what were the ticket sales? Lastly, where was the business's operation? perhaps most importantly, how could a company formed in 2025 claim commercial use dating back a full decade earlier? Those questions now sit at the center of the trademark dispute, and they would soon become formal legal arguments. Act 5.5, Elton responds. At this point, I wanted to make sure I wasn't simply telling one side of the story. Before recording this video, I reached out directly to Elton Castee and offered him an opportunity to respond to the...
Okay, and I'm going to read these to you. So Andrew writes, "Hey man, I'm a friend of Jordan," being J Cards. "I'm doing a video on your trademark application for quote-unquote Conjuring House. Name and some of the claims in the application that don't line up with reality. I thought I'd at least message and ask you if you had any comments, questions, or anything else you would personally like me to add to the video. This convo will be screenshotted. Feel free to message whenever, though given the subject matter, I understand if you decline to comment. I thought I'd at least give you a chance. I have my script written and will be recording tomorrow and Wednesday. Have a great night." I also want to remind you, once again, just a little reminder, how that first video we watched with WPRI reached out to Elton, did not respond. And I know I'm blocking this, so I'm gonna read it to you. I know I'm blocking Elton's answer. Elton responds to Andrew, who is not a traditional news channel. I'm just saying, not a traditional news channel. Responds, "Hey bud, I don't really see anything here for me to answer. You didn't ask any questions, but also insulted me by saying it doesn't line up with reality. So I don't really know what you want from me here. LOL. Let me know if you have any questions, though, and perhaps I can answer them." There is a question. I thought I'd at least message you and ask if you had any comments, questions, or anything else you'd personally like me to add to the video. That's the question. The question is, do you have a comment? Do you have questions? Is there something you would like me to add? Those are questions. There was no question mark. I understand sometimes that's difficult to understand. There's no question mark, but it is there. It is happening. This is Pink 2024 here. My phone account, as I'm now laying in bed because tired. Oh, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Elton has no damn media training. Okay, well, we're gonna talk about that too. So there is a question. I don't understand this little. No, I don't see a question. But maybe if you had one. Also, you insulted me by saying it doesn't line up with reality. Sure, I guess if you want to take that as an insult, I would say it's a little bit of a stretch. Or I wouldn't point that out if I was responding. So if I'm Elton and I'm responding, I can see being a little upset about that because it kind of suggests that like Elton's delusional. That those wording, it does suggest that Elton is slightly delusional, or it could be taken personally that way. I don't think Andrew meant it that way. I think he meant like some of the things that you are stating is not like doesn't coincide with other parts of the timeline. I would go, I'm a little confused what you mean that don't line up with reality. Could you give me a specific example? So if I was Elton, I would ignore this. Or you could just ignore this. You ignored the news channel, the traditional media. I don't know why you feel the need to respond to a content creator. I'm not saying that he shouldn't. I'm just saying I don't understand the logic behind it of the one or the other.
Questions surrounding the trademark.
And I say that because like at least the news station has technically like journalistic integrity that they should be following up with. Andrew didn't need to do this. He's not a journalist. Or I should say he's not a trained journalist. He did not have to ask for comment. He could have just reported on the one thing and given his opinion. Because he's not a traditional media news source. And you're going to him for an opinion piece.
Application. After some initial discussion, Elton provided a response.
Okay. So Andrew says, I think there might be a miscommunication. I was offering you the chance to question or comment on anything related to the application or the timeline of the property date. I realize you probably have a pretty good idea of it, but I'm really good at research and I have the whole thing is a bit different than how the application would make it seem. And Elton responds, I generally don't know what you want. I will have questions, but I'm not just gonna ramble off random stuff. My bro, what? My bro in Christ, what are you fucking saying? If you don't, just don't respond. If this is the response you're gonna give, don't respond. Or ask, like, direct questions. Andrew responds, okay, well, if you want questions, then I will take an hour tonight after work and write a couple out. Have a good night. I will message you tomorrow at around noon. Next day. To clear up any miscommunication and ensure your perspective is accurately represented in the video, here are the specific questions regarding the trademark application. The application claims first use of commerce date October 1st, 2015 for ghost tours and museum services. Public corporate registries show Haunted Homes LLC was not legally incorporated until a decade later. How did a non-existent entity establish commercial trademark use in 2015? In October 2015, Burrillville Landed Evidence Records prove the property was a private residence and home daycare owned by Norma Sutcliffe and Gerard Helfrich, with no public tours operating. Who was operating commercial ghost tours under the name Conjuring House at the location in 2015? Why was a third-party website submitted as proof of commerce for Haunted Homes LLC? I'm recording my final audio tracks over the next 48 hours. If you would like to provide a formal statement or clarification on these specific portions, I will gladly include the video. Have a good one. Let's see. Laughing Couchies. The news station might ask scary questions. Or A, the news station might ask scary questions. B, Elton probably felt more confident that he would be able to BS a small YouTube channel. Probably, but like, then once again, don't respond. You are more likely to get more eyes, especially eyes of people who are willing to pay money or might come garner as an audience to explain yourself to a news channel than it is to go to smaller YouTube creators or like answer small YouTube creators. I don't understand. I don't get it. It's a numbers game. I don't understand. Who are you trying to convince? Who? Frankly exposed. Yeah, silence would be use less energy to say the same. Yeah. Mario says, I would have not written any questions. He can figure out what... Figure it... Big brain. With his... Okay, sorry. He can figure it out with his big brain. I can't figure out words, apparently. I suspect Elton was fishing. Maybe, possibly. Frankly exposed. Yeah, it definitely feels like fishing. Isabel, you don't understand because you're not missing the part of your brain. I don't know. I don't have a lot of my brain.
Response explaining his position regarding the filing.
Okay. If you want to hear Andrew's thoughts about this, you're going to have to watch Andrew's video. I'll have a link for it later. But yeah, since this is so new, if you want to watch the rest of it, you're going to have to. I will also say that I did not show all of Florio's stream either. So if you want to see all of that, you will have to check out that link that I will provide later. It is a good stream, but I don't want to necessarily take views away from them. So yeah, you're going to have to go watch that. Okay. 1 day ago, Jordan puts out another video. This one is the dark side of the paranormal community, ... I've seen it.
Maniacs, welcome back to the channel. Your local bedhead here. Now, before I even get started with what I'm about to tell you right now, I am not pointing any fingers.
Bye, Pink Angel. I hope you have a great night. Sleep well.
I'm not going to say any names. I'm not going to do anything like that. And I don't even want people to assume. I don't, because that's not what this is about. I have been reacting to paranormal content for several years now. I've been watching paranormal stuff for a long time. And I've been a fan of the paranormal for a long time. Now, as you know, a lot of you know, that there is shady shit going on. Shady shit. Tactics being pulled. I really can't get into full detail. And I'm going to tell you right now, I am not the person who is going to be exposing anybody. That's not why I'm here. It's not what I like to do. I talk about things, give my opinions on things, and that's about it. Though, if someone is exposed, I will probably get my thoughts on that too. Because there's nothing out there for really the public to see just yet. However, I will tell you within the past few days, I'd say, I have seen shit going on behind the scenes. I have seen shit. Not saying any names, not saying where I've seen it from, not saying who I've seen it from. I will just tell you right now, people, fans, communities would be insanely shocked and disturbed by some of the messages I have seen or I've been sent. Again, not pointing any fingers, not saying any names, not going to play that game. I am just going to tell you, and you either don't take my word for it or you do take my word for it. Not really somebody to go around spreading rumors unless I've seen things. And I will tell you that watch out. Just watch out. Some people, they come off very nice, very giving, very humbling, very sweet to their fans. But that's just not the case. Not all the time. That's a fact of the truth. And when or whether this is going to be exposed, I couldn't tell you. All I can tell you is from witnessing with my own personal eyes that there's a lot of stuff and a lot of tactics, a lot of threats, a lot of things. And I'm not even speaking about just one person. I'm speaking about numerous people within this community, within the entire sphere of the paranormal, who have been pulling some crazy shit that I think is going to genuinely surprise people. And look, if you choose that you just still want to idolize these people even after everything's exposed, that's fine. But I hope and pray most people would not be for this kind of behavior. I'd hope. That's really all I want to say. As somebody who has been looking up to loads of people within this community who have been, giving the benefit of the doubt for a lot of people, I will genuinely tell you right now, disappointed. Insanely disappointed. Now, they might comment and take these as attacks. Again,
He's not angry. He's just disappointed.
I'm not speaking about one person. I'm speaking about numerous people within this field. It's not even just about one person. It's about numerous people within this field. And I'm disgusted that a lot of people who have been saying things along the lines of, oh, this part of the community, the debunkers, are the hateful ones. No, we're just transparent and honest with how we feel. We don't put on a charade and act nice to everybody else while then pulling the shit we do behind the scenes. There ain't no way. And then the reason why you probably won't see me, saying anything about certain people and calling out certain people is because obviously a lot of the people that I've seen certain messages from are threatened by a lot of these people. You'd be mind blown. You would absolutely be mind blown. It's like a fucking pit of snakes that slither amongst themselves on a mountain of gold.
Ooh, the visuals. The visuals. Ooh, 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 ooh.
If anything, I hope these people take a step back and just realize to themselves their actions are going to have consequences. At some point, the money, the threats aren't going to matter. The attitudes, the manipulation, it's not going to matter. It just won't. Not saying anybody specifically, not targeting anybody specifically, but I will tell you, holy shit. Get your act together. That's all I'll say. All right, take care.
Thanks, Jake Hartz. Okay. That was very much the wrong one. I meant to hit this. He did not name names. No names were named. We have no clue who he's talking about because he didn't give any specific examples, which is great, which is fine. But I guess this is the first one. No one had a names. But commenters be commenting. And speculators be speculating. There was recently Jay Karts did recently say he was upset with Elton. So maybe some people got their pogo sticks and started jumping to the conclusions. And I just want to say, Jay Kart's whole video was about taking a step back and not threatening other people. Leaving smaller creators alone. So who should show up in the comments? Not Elton. Not Elton this time. Elton's wife. And ooh, someone we know down there. Oh. Hold on. Let me move this to the side so you can see it a little bit better. Okay. So this commenter says, and I should have blocked out their name. I'm so sorry that I did not do that. Elton doesn't care for the history or / lore. He'd rather destroy the Conjuring house than let someone else have it. The way he speaks to these people is foul. Not the nicest comment, but not like a scathing thing. My mother calls me worse on a Tuesday, honestly. Ginger, who is Elton's wife, goes into the comments and responds, "That's such a dumb thing to say." To which somebody responds, "Do you go into Jesse Smiles' comment sections or just smaller creators?" Because I'm getting a little fed up with this, honestly. This feels like a way to use your audience. So that's one. This one here, I'm just going to make it bigger. Ugh, that's not going to work either. Come here. Same commenter, different comment. Sorry, guys, you have to deal with this. Says, I'd say it's about Elton until you say them appearing kind and speaking nicely to their fans. He's openly foul. He was so mean to me when I left a helpful comment and plea for him and blind community on his videos. His response was cruel. The way he spoke to Seg, he is about Jason. How he's being about Jason in the Conjuring house. And Ginger once again responds with, "What was the comment? I refuse to believe that he was mean to an ask like that." Girl, I don't have to tell you what your husband said. You refuse to believe it? Go watch Seg's video. What do you mean you refuse to believe it? There's a whole stream about it. You're clearly in the comments section. Another one. This is all in Jay Kart's video. Elton Castee is a money-hungry, selfish, disgusting human being. Okay, that's a little mean to call someone a disgusting human being, but anyway. From what I've seen, I'm disgusted. I've unfollowed his channels, all of them. This is my opinion. Lying to the federal government, he's going down. Meet me in the mall. It's going down. Ginger responds with, "You couldn't be more wrong, and it's so sad to see people believing this." And then our savior, our knight in shining armor, Ms. Paranormal, comes in and says, "Sad to see people believing it, or sad to see all the BS your husband has been up to in the background finally coming out? Should we talk about how he lied about having anything to do with the house in the very beginning of this? Remember that when the auction was canceled and your husband made a statement somewhere to the effect of, I'm trying to separate myself from anything having to do with the Conjuring house. It's nothing, it's not even up for sale. Why would I talk about it? Only to find out soon after that he was the one who purchased the mortgage. The phone call he took part with Amy Bruni trying to get Andrea to change her mind into supporting him instead of Jason. All the people that bullied Jason's supporters and spread the hateful misinformation only to end up doing a collab with you or people associated with you guys soon after. Or how all those people who've been spreading all these hateful things and posting about it with every update did so until the moment things started to become exposed about your husband in the articles regarding the court documents. How they all stopped sharing updates in the exact same time, chalking it up to quote unquote drama, and that they weren't going to talk about it anymore. ... Weird how they didn't didn't think it was drama when they were making it their job to make up a bunch of BS and harass anybody who said they supported Jason. See January drama. I hope they enjoy the attention they got from it, or from you for it. Nothing stays buried forever. I think you guys have gone way too long praying that your fans were too stupid to catch on. Something tells me they're not going to be able to do that much longer. Peace. She let her have it. She did. So, that was Ginger in Jordan's comments. But what if I told you this wasn't the only time this month Ginger was spotted in the wild in other debunkers' comments? Stevie from Truth or Demons posted this. Please note the date, June 14th. And she goes, okay, let's break down this post, shall we? First quote, the Annabelle was never actually hosted at the Conjuring house. It was a different Raggedy Ann doll entirely. This isn't news. Second quote. So, more of the point is, she's talking about Raggedy Ann and Annabelle. This is June 14th. Oh, I thought I added these. I'm sorry. Okay. Alyssa Miller comments, well, the fires and whatnot that happened while Annabelle was on tour did happen. They did not, they just don't believe she caused it. Rick says so on video when Groovy Gavin went to the museum. That was also the video I realized Elton constantly moves Annabelle, the movie's doll's head to face the Raggedy Ann Annabelle. Just gotta take shit an extra step to make it a little more creepy. To which Ginger responds, Elton does not constantly move the head, LOL. Girl, why are you in people's comments? Why do you even care? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? So this happens. Dust does a stream last night too. I don't know if it's connected, but Jordan's video did come out yesterday. And finally, before we go, Elton makes a post last night. And it says the following. So you all want to really know about the Conjuring house situation? Yes, Daddy, tell us. About 6 years of meticulously documented evidence proving that you are all being lied to and manipulated? Is it in the room with us? Oh. I looked up and there was a fly there. It scared me. Think I can do it in a video under 2 hours? That's the hard part. Girly Pop, give me a 4-hour video. I don't care. Do it. Do it. I don't know, something fell. I save every phone, so I have all my texts. I film when I suspect shitty situations. I follow the law beyond what is even required. Put a pin in that for a second. What is even required. And I always try my best to be a good human. By leaving comments? What are you talking about? The whole thing of like, I follow the law even more than necessary. My brother in Christ, you don't know the law. There is video of you saying that the town of Salem shouldn't have said what your business was going to be in their meeting because that goes against your First Amendment right. What are you talking about? How does zoning laws impede your freedom of speech? Yet you have to submit what you're doing as a business. You have to. First off, they have to make sure it's not illegal. You can't be like, no, it's a secret. You don't get to know. You don't get to know. And yeah, it's in a public meeting. It's going to be in a public place. People do get to know about that. That's why, like, people sometimes, like, don't want, like, Walmarts or stuff in their town. They go into they know it's getting built because of zoning stuff and because, like, town council meetings. What? Do you know what the First Amendment means? I don't want to say that you follow the law. You don't know what the First Amendment means. There's videos of him trespassing abandoned places, especially with Sam and Comey. Oh, yeah. That's not following the law. Oh, no. Sorry. I keep trying to scroll down, but it's actually zoom. Sure, my emotions flare. And I'm not perfect. I'm only human. But I am by no means a felon. Technically, no. Not a felon. You've not been tried. What? The fly went on my ring light. That was scary. Okay. But boy, oh boy, can I prove that someone else is. Once again, you're not a judge. I don't know how to tell you this. I'm not a lawyer. You're not a judge or a jury of 12 of your peers. You can't prove someone's a felon. You can probably prove someone broke a federal law, but you can't prove unless they have a record. Unless they have a record that they are a felon. I don't mean to get caught up on a technicality, but like, we'll get caught on technicality. P.S. Might want to check your wedding invite list to see who you really trust. Could be a few names on there you don't trust, that don't trust you. So this is my question. Whose wedding? Whose wedding? Whose wedding? Whose wedding? Like, is he like referencing his own wedding? But that happened 2 years ago, so why would you check that list? Or is he referencing someone else's wedding? And if so, whose is it? I want to know. And I also want to know what they're going to be serving. And I want to know what the bride's dress looks like. Or the groom's outfit. I don't judge. I just want details. So everyone else go sleuth for me and come back and tell me. Thank you. Okay. So the point of me doing this stream was to talk about, is Elton slimy? Not physically, a metaphorical slimy. Let's go through the points now. So, like, just briefly. I need to do this hand over here. 1. When the Conjuring House auction was canceled, he put up a deceptive comment with a frowny face to show that he was disappointed that the auction was not happening, even though he was the reason for the auction not happening. And I know we've done this, but we're going to go through it again. 2, he created LLCs, and then used those LLCs to purchase the debt of the Conjuring House, and it seems like he might have done that to get more protection and to also hide his identity. 3, while being the owner of this debt, he has found ways to not allow Jason Hawes to pay off the Conjuring House. 4, he has gone into smaller creators' comments and either told them that they were getting the facts wrong and got angry at them in a public forum, which is basically like a boss yelling at you. Like, 5, he went and bought or made a website for the Conjuring House and then went and made a trademark for the Conjuring House, even though he does not own it. 6, he didn't give Jake Hartz a flashlight. I think that's really mean. And I think even if you taught him how to turn on the flashlight, if you see him walking away in the dark, you could have just helped him out so he didn't break his fucking neck. I don't think that's a huge ask, and you pointed it out. And if you didn't want me to get upset about it, then don't put it in your video. Just saying, you can't blame me. 7, he went into a smaller, first off, he commented on a channel. His travel channel has 2 million more subs than his overnight channel. So he went on a bigger channel to go and comment on Seg's channel, which is significantly smaller, and suggested that maybe Seg's mental health was not the best, and that's why he's a big old meanie weenie pants. Which, like, the meanie weenie pants argument I really don't really care about, but it's the going in as a bigger creator. And then most recently, when names weren't getting named, now his wife is going in and commenting to defend him from threats. Not like defend him in general, even though no one named names. Which, like, I don't know. I would just, like, stay away from it personally. I will also say with the Ginger stuff, I've heard several people tell me Ginger's really, really nice. Ginger's really, really sweet. She's a genuinely good person. And I'm not going to say she's not. I don't know her. I will say, whether she's a genuinely good person or not, she's still defending somebody who is doing unethical and immoral actions. And when you get married, you are not, you know, the same as your partner, but you are an extension of your partner. And most people, for the most part, know exactly who they married and are fine with and promote and will defend the actions. I don't know if giving her so much credit for being a good person really matters if she keeps defending these actions. And they're public. They're public actions. I know they get deleted and stuff like that, but yeah. Apparently Elton has said a few times that, Ginger was looking at this and told me about it. I have my emotional support husband behind me. He's right there. I would never ask him to go watch media about me and to report back to me on it. Get a manager. I'm not saying he doesn't have one, but, like, that's what your manager should be doing, not your wife. That just seems not very good for the relationship. But yeah, I just want to say, like, be very cautious of how much grace you give people when it comes to discussing their partners in marriage, because people know who they married. And some people might love that aspect of their spouse. Okay, 4. The preponderance of this evidence suggests that he is indeed slimy AF. Thank you, thank you. That is the scientific term for it. And then Laughing Couchy says giving false information to Burville PD isn't legal. I'm not a lawyer, can't say. Florio, to be fair, he edited out the shout out to J Cards, but left in him saying he doesn't have a flashlight. Hey, he told Sagan he'll tell you too. Don't judge how he edits. That's up to him. You edit how you want to. Florio, point is he has no room to bitch. He'll make room. So, I've been saying, I just think Elton and co and fam would maybe benefit from some media training. Now, mind you, I'm not a media training specialist. I don't have media training. I don't need it. I'm not even monetized yet. You could change that, though, if you sub. Thanks. So, and this guy's kind of goofy. He's kind of goofy, but I did find a video about how confident creators react to negative comments. For a little media training we can all do. And we can see, maybe together, how much of Stephen Walters, that's the guy, that's the YouTube channel, Stephen Walters' advice we think Elton maybe should consider taking. This is a suggestion. This is a suggestion. I'm just trying to help. I'm trying to help. Okay? Don't get angry at me. Okay. I will say this guy, he's a little goofy silly. He's a little goofy silly. So let's see how much we think Elton could take.
You're here because you want to learn how to handle criticism effectively, right? Criticism, whether constructive.
Yeah, we want to. All of us want to.
Or harsh can often feel uncomfortable, but how we choose to respond to it defines how we're perceived and treated from that moment on. But what if you could turn any...
Okay, good. Okay, how we choose to act when we are... Sorry, he's a little loud. How we respond to people does affect the perception. So Elton, you said like sometimes you flare up. It's going to affect how people perceive you.
Criticism into a powerful tool for growth. That's what the mindful communication revolution is all about. I'm Stephen Walters, and I'm here to help you strengthen your personal and professional relationships with effective communication strategies that include how to handle criticism. In this video, we're going to explore 10 practical strategies.
He's talking too fast. That's crazy. Usually... Oh, let's put you down one. There you go.
That you can use to handle criticism with confidence, so it doesn't feel like you've been gut punched. The key is to embrace any feedback with a mindful approach, staying composed, and turning it into a tool for growth.
Tool for growth. We're all growing.
If you've watched my previous videos, you already know that you need to have a bunch of go-to strategies to help.
Oh my God, dealing with stubborn people, clashing or avoiding the narcissist, dealing with difficult people, passive aggressive. That's me. I'm the passive aggressive one. Dealing with sarcastic cynicism. Maybe we should watch more of Stephen's videos. Dealing with the narcissist, dealing with the hypersensitive people. That's me too. I'm hypersensitive. I cry at everything.
Deal with difficult.
Oh, and then I can't read that one.
People and situations. That's why this video is one of the most important videos you'll ever watch, so that when even the harshest of criticism or negative feedback is aimed
it's a big lady.
at you, you'll have 10 actionable techniques to turn it into another stepping stone for your success. But before you can handle any criticism like a pro, you have to have the right mindset, even before you're hit with that sometimes stinging criticism. That's why the first and most crucial step is to subscribe to the channel and make sure you throw a thumbs up to show that you like this kind of
Yeah, you actually avoid criticism if you sub to his channel. Fun fact.
Content too. And checking your mindset even before you hear the criticism by approaching it mindfully and deciding how you'll interpret and respond to it. Are you going to see it as a personal attack or as an opportunity to grow? A defensive mindset will keep you stuck, but a growth mindset will move you forward.
Growth mindset. We've all heard this, right? Is that just a teaching thing or is that in business too? Growth mindset? Growth mindset?
In other words, are you willing to keep an open mind and see if there's insight that can help you improve or not? Let's say you've just published a video and someone comments, "This is boring. You have no charisma."
You forgot to tell Jordan to put on the flashlight.
Instead of letting it hit your self-esteem, ask yourself, how can I make my next video more engaging? Notice I didn't dwell on the negative parts of the criticism. I went straight to finding a solution. That's the mindset
How can I remember to remind people to turn on their flashlights?
shift you need. Take this
Crow mindset. No, that's just hot dogs and mayo.
feedback as a challenge to improve. Break down what makes content engaging by watching successful creators in your niche. Pay attention to their energy,
Yeah, watch successful creators in your niche.
pacing, and storytelling techniques. Then experiment with incorporating one or two of these elements into your next video.
Yeah, mind seed.
Record yourself practicing your delivery and analyze it for areas of improvement. Use this criticism as a tool to sharpen your presentation skills and elevate your content.
Okay, I'm gonna say that probably doesn't apply to Elton because he's been content creating for a while. He has millions of subs. I think he's probably pretty engaging. I will say that. The problem is it's not the engagement, it's the enragement that we're having an issue with. We got to figure that out. We got to figure out not being enraged.
Now that your mindset is primed to handle feedback constructively, let's move to the next essential step in navigating criticism effectively, understanding the source and nature of the criticism. Tip number 2, consider the source and nature of the criticism.
Okay, I feel like this is promising. I feel like this might be promising.
Not all feedback is created equal. Is it coming from a trusted mentor, a loyal viewer, or someone just seeking to provoke a reaction? Knowing the source helps you determine whether it's feedback you can learn from or just noise you should ignore. Here's a good example. Imagine a mentor you respect saying, "Your videos lack a clear narrative. They're all over the place." Now that stings, but this is someone whose opinion matters. Instead of feeling defensive, recognize that this is valuable insight. They're giving you a roadmap for improvement. But what about a different scenario? Say a viewer comments, "Your content is trashed," and you have no idea what you're talking about.
Where does he get his stock footage? Because I need it. I need all these stock footages. But if you don't have empathy, you have poor frontal lobe activity, you don't think you're at fault at all, and will not be able to adjust with a criticism. I think a lot of the times you kind of have to turn empathy off in a way when you become a creator with literally millions of people following you. There's no way that you're going to be able to connect with individual audience members in a way that you can put yourself in their shoes. It's just, humans are not capable of doing that, and I wouldn't go as far to say that that's a lack of empathy. I think that's, that's just a threshold. So I don't want to say that there's like a lack of empathy. I think there's a lack of professionalism. I think there is a lack of self-emotional regulation. But I don't think it's fair to say that Elton's not empathetic because he doesn't agree with people. And as I said, I think at some point you kind of have to turn that empathy off, or you'll go insane.
About. That's harsh, but instead of taking it personally, consider the source. Is this someone who offers specific points you can learn from, or are they just venting their frustration? Don't let vague, hostile feedback derail you. Focus on what you can control. If the critique isn't constructive or specific, remind yourself it's just noise.
Okay, so Elton, maybe Seg's critique is just noise to you, and we can accept that, and we can just move on from the noise.
Instead, look.
That is what the science of brain function. You need empathy to be able to see consequences. Elton shows low empathy behavior, which is consistent with sociopath. I'm not going to diagnose. I'm not a psychologist. And that's like a medical term. That's between him and a therapist. Not saying that I'm not a doctor. Yeah, I'm just also not going to say that. I avoid medical terms as much as possible. Kit Ford, I've had to deal with some super harsh comments on my campaign websites. I just have to realize that people with those comments aren't my voter base and they can fuck off. I love that. Kit, can you send me some of your campaign stuff? I'm just interested. I just want to say. Sometimes you get comments and you're like, that's not serving me. And like, even as a smaller creator, I've gotten some especially with like recent stuff that's going down, I've lurked and I've read some things. And I've been disappointed in people. And even though I don't come out and comment, I have read them, but I think that's the difference is like I've read them and I let people have that opinion and just noted it. I just took notes of people's opinions and decided that my interactions with them are going to change, but I don't need to put anyone on blast about it. Joan is awesome. Some other people are shitty to everyone in this community. Yeah, I try to be awesome. I try. I do try. I've been saying for a while now that I want to be I want to be softer as a person. I want to be more understanding. I want to let people make mistakes and not jump down their throats. I want them to be able to correct themselves. And I think it's funny now. It's funny because I was in a class today. We're in a circle talking, a sacred circle, a women's circle, and we were talking. And I brought up that like sometimes I get called scary, and it was bothering me a little bit because I don't want to be scary, and I still joke that I'm like I'm not scary. But I think what is meant is that I just make my boundaries known. And I think that's fine. Maybe sometimes I should explain why I have the boundaries I do a little bit better. But sometimes I also don't think the person's worth the explanation, and I can just saying anything is going to change their mind. So I stay quiet and I build the people up around me that I want to see built up. That's it. Just disengage. It's also a lot easier. Isabel, yeah, but low empathy is the only other way to describe that the behavior. He may not be able to ignore it or stop trying to manipulate the situation, but the copycat website is pretty manipulative. I think I'd rather just say it's manipulative instead of low empathy. I think I can't police what you're saying. I think I personally understand it better if you say manipulative. That is to your credit. I'm just saying you can only do that with people who have an ability to self-evaluate. Some people really can't help them and let it go and have to let it go. Well, once I know someone can't listen, I move on. Yeah. I was a teacher for long enough. I know when people are just kind of done. And I'm like, not your mama. I don't have to teach you how to interact with the world. Kit Ford, I truly understand where you're coming from. I've been very direct, blunt my whole life. I'd love to be all sweet and cuddly, but I'm not. It's like I don't mind not being like cuddly. I think I want to be approachable, and I get scared that me having such strong boundaries and not explained well enough makes me seem cold and unapproachable. Or that I think I'm better than people. And honestly, I fight with imposter syndrome so much. So much. So, you know, sometimes I could be a little bit sassy because I get a little silly, but like deep down, like I don't want people to be hurt. I'm also not going to be people pleasing to the detriment of myself. That's it. Not the mama. Not the mama. Setting good boundaries is awesome, and people who get it will love you for it. Yeah. Yeah. I always like to say too, making a boundary is not dictating what other people have to do. It is dictating consequences. So if someone says something, like, for example, like a boundary I have is don't harass people. And if I find out, like, so that's my boundary. Don't harass people. So what happens if you cross the boundary? Because I can't say what, like, I can't tell you what to do necessarily. But I say, if you cross that boundary where you going out and harass people because of something that you saw on my channel, I will block you. That's the consequence of the boundary being crossed. I will not give you access to myself. So, like, that's the explaining of a boundary. So, like, just explain, like, what you will and will not tolerate, and then what will happen. I envy people who can be blunt and upfront with language. I have such social anxiety, and I want to please or avoid conflict with friends and say I sound like a politician. I'm very conflict avoidant. I'm very conflict avoidant. I really don't like fighting. Yeah, I get bad imposter syndrome and tend to get stuck and unable to do more work as a psych response. Yeah. It's not that I lack work. I just sit there with an internal dialogue saying, why are you even here right now? Why do you have a seat at this table? You're not fooling anyone. And then when people compliment me, I'm like, why would you lie to me like that? That's so rude. I think you're approachable, but I'm biased. Oh, thank you. I just, only a few people need to think I'm approachable. I'll admit too that, like, with audience, I try to make a very clear distinction. Like, I don't know you, I'm a content creator, and I really don't like to talk too much with audience members unless they're also content creators. Just because, like, I think it's a blurry line, and I need time to, like, I need time for my personal life as well. So I try to make it, like, I try to be very clear about the relationship I have with audience. I'll talk to you, I'll do that, but it's usually gonna be, like, through email. I don't accept people on my personal pages who are not fellow content creators. And even then, very rarely do I accept it. I don't accept people who are just, like, people in Discord. Like, I have to know you. It's like, I'll talk to some people, but I try not to. It feels like I very much want that relationship defined very well. And I think it somewhat helps with the parasocialness of it. Because, I have a husband, I have a family who don't want to be on camera. My husband's hardly on camera. And at some point, we do want children. I don't want them on camera. I want to be able to have a separate family life outside of content creation. And I feel like that does start with clearly defining what kind of relationship you're going to have with your audience. Someone once told my late brother that he should act differently because people might feel like he thinks he's better than they are. He said, but I am. I could never. I would love to find that kind of confidence. I do. I actually have a friend who one time mentioned, she goes, I've never experienced imposter syndrome. I just know I'm that good. And sometimes I think to myself, what would she do in certain situations? I'm like, what would it be like if I didn't have imposter syndrome? What would she do? Oh yeah, much as we have opinions about certain people, don't attack them, just ignore best we can. Yeah. Kip Ford, he was super confident. It's a family trait. I love that. Florio, yeah, I tend to get, like, physical response and feel so tired and unable. Yeah, I've had the cognitive, or was it the executive function, like, freeze. I've done that too, but that's usually when I have too many things going on at once. You're trying to make sure that you set a good boundary so you don't get parasocial. That is a real thing. Yes. Yeah. I have a friend who I always, what would they do in situations? Yeah. But let's get back to this. This is not about me. This is about Elton.
For patterns across multiple comments. Are there repeated concerns about your content's clarity, quality, or style? Use those patterns to identify genuine areas for growth and keep your focus on the feedback that really matters.
I would also say a lot of this, I think this guy is talking about, like, also within your own comment section. So there's a difference too. If you go out into somebody else's community and read all the comments about you, like, that's not good. And I don't think Elton or Ginger should be doing that. I think you should take advice from your audience base. Take advice from people who are going to give you the most grace which is like people who tend to watch you. And yet, if you have repeated comments in your comment section, then take that advice. Like, do that. I don't think you should go seeking out people you have contentious relationships with and seeing what they're saying about you. I mean, knock on wood, no one has made a video about me yet. I don't know what I'm going to do if that ever happens. Probably cry, honestly. Not in a good way. But like, you know, hearing critiques about myself from somebody else is very difficult. I admit that, but I am on the internet. It might happen one day. I can't go and read the comment section and take that, what is said, to heart. That's not my audience. That's not people who have spent time with me and tried to get to know me and tried to understand me. Those are people that's that audience. So of course, if a critique video goes out, it's going to be in favor of the person who's critiquing me. And I'm sure if they came over to my page and I critique them, such as we're doing with Elton tonight, yeah, most of you are going to be in favor of me and not Elton. Why would you seek that out? That's just, it's not good.
Now that you've determined whether the criticism is even worth your attention, the next step is to truly engage with it. This next step is where...
I'm sorry, Kit Ford. The problem with having a lot of confidence, though, is that you end up thinking, I can do that, and end up naked fighting off alligators with a spork. You said this was your late brother. Please don't tell me that's the reason why you mentioned late. Also, I'm sorry for your loss.
Real growth begins. You need to go beyond just hearing the feedback. You need to listen actively to every word, because that brings us to tip number 3. Listen actively. And I mean really listen. Even if you're reading a comment, you need to fully engage with that feedback. Don't just skim over the feedback or mentally prepare your defense while you read. Actually listen to what's being said or written. Now, this is important. Imagine that the words are not being spoken directly to you, but only to the work. Here's an example. Well, let's say someone writes, "Your editing is too choppy. It's hard to follow." Instead of dismissing it as nitpicking, hear those words in your mind. Imagine the person saying them directly to your work, and you're just an observer paying close attention. This way, you're not just absorbing the surface level of the comment, but understanding the emotion and frustration behind it. Actively listening means putting aside your ego and being open to improvement. After hearing the feedback, ask yourself, is there a pattern here? Have others said the same thing? If you're a content creator, check your analytics. Are viewers dropping off at certain points in your videos? If so, take the feedback seriously. Experiment with smoother transitions.
Once again, the technicality stuff, I don't think Elton necessarily needs advice in. He's fine. I should probably take this advice more.
Tighter cuts or better pacing. The goal is to find what keeps your audience engaged and make the necessary adjustments. And speaking of feedback, I want to hear from you right now. What do you think about what I've shared so far? Drop your critiques in the comments below. Please be specific. I'm listening, and I'm ready to improve. Your insights will help me make...
Honestly, you're a little soulless when you say things like that. I'm just saying. That's my critique.
...future content even better for you. Now that you've sharpened the art of truly listening to feedback, it's time to go a step further. Don't just accept what you hear or see. Dig deeper and uncover the real value of the criticism. That leads...
Never read reviews is advice I've had in theater. Yeah, I saw someone talk about how on their, like, the bigger channels, I forget who it was, but they said they stopped reading an hour after they put things up. So, like, if something really horrendous that you need to walk back happens, people who are watching your stuff within the first hour that comes out will let you know. And, like, those are people who probably are diehard fans. And so if you've really messed up, they will let you know and probably be more forgiving and gentler about it than other people. So, like, yeah, when I finally get 1 million subs, I'm going to stop reading comments after the first hour. So get your hate comments in early. That's all I'm saying.
Leads us to tip number 4. Ask clarifying questions. Here's where things get interesting. Don't just accept criticism at face value. For meaningful growth, dig deeper and ask clarifying questions that help you uncover actionable insights from the feedback. Imagine someone from your mastermind group saying, "Your videos lack focus. They feel scattered." Instead of feeling discouraged or jumping to conclusions, ask them, can you point out specific parts where it felt that way? Or what would help make the content feel more cohesive to you? A trusted group member...
Ford, my criticism is the whole turtleneck paired with the sports coat gives off 70s cult vibes. He doesn't have the glasses though. You know, like the glasses that what's his name? I can't think of. There's like cult glasses or serial killer glasses. Live in portrait would immediately make me switch off for sure. I think it's because a lot of people are like watching like TikToks and things like that or on their phone. TV is just starting to like catch up.
Feedback often holds valuable insight, but only if you take the time to dig deeper and ask the right questions. Focus on asking open-ended questions rather than simple yes or no questions. Open-ended questions like, what specifically didn't work for you? Or how do you think I can make this clear?
Yeah, ask questions. And we all know what questions are. So ask them.
Can encourage more detailed responses and provide you with more actionable feedback. In contrast, yes or no questions like, did you like it or was it clear, can shut down the conversation and limit the depth of the feedback you receive. Use these clarifying questions to get to the heart of the criticism. If you find specific areas mentioned repeatedly, it's time to refine your process. Consider outlining your videos more carefully, tightening your scripts, or focusing on a single core message per video. By clarifying, you turn vague feedback into specific actionable steps that can drive real improvement. So you've clarified the feedback, asked the right questions, and now you're getting somewhere. But here's where most people stumble. They let it get personal. You're already gaining ground by digging deep.
Oh, like commenting on someone's mental health?
And engaging with the criticism. But the next step is where you separate those who thrive from those who crumble. That's why tip number 5 is absolutely critical. Separate yourself from the criticism. Now, for one of the toughest, most crucial steps, separate yourself from the criticism. It's not about you, it's about the work. Taking criticism personally clouds your judgment. When you separate yourself from it, you're better able to engage constructively and improve your work. Criticism isn't a reflection of your work. It's an opportunity to elevate your content. Here's an example. Let's say a viewer comments, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, it's easy to feel attacked, but remember, this is about the content, not your worth as a creator. Instead of reacting emotionally, think, is there a point here that I can address with better research or more thorough explanations? Practice separating your self-worth from your work. One way to do this is by creating a critique filter. This is a simple mental checklist that simply asks, is this feedback specific and actionable? Is it coming from a reliable source? If the answer is yes, use it to improve. If not, let it go. Before we move on, let's quickly recap. We've already covered that you need to check your mindset, consider the source and nature of criticism, listen actively, ask clarifying questions, and separate yourself from the criticism. These first 5 tips are the foundation for managing feedback effectively. But now it's time to step up your game even further with the last 5 ways to handle criticism like a pro, so you can start understanding criticism on a deeper level. When you can see things from your critic's perspective, you gain the power to respond calmly and turn even the harshest feedback into constructive.
See? Okay, don't worry about your flare-ups. There's ways to respond calmly.
Insight. That's what makes tip number 6, practicing empathy, so essential. Put yourself in the critic's shoes. Why might they be giving this feedback? Are they trying to help you, or are they just projecting their frustrations? Understanding their perspective can help you respond calmly and constructively. Here's a really good example. Let's say someone comments, this video is way too long and boring. Hopefully not. Instead of feeling defensive videos, I'll consider how I can make my content more concise in the future. Practicing empathy not only de-escalates tension, but also opens the door to meaningful dialogue. It makes your viewers feel heard and valued, which can build a stronger, more engaging community. Empathy helps you connect with your critic, but growth happens when you recognize the truth in their words. What if that feedback, even the harshest, contains a lesson you need? Don't just see their perspective, find the value in it. That's where tip number 7 comes in. Acknowledge valid points. It's easy to feel attacked and defensive when someone points out your flaws, but acknowledging when a critic has a valid point, that shows maturity and a willingness to learn.
Yeah, maturity and a willingness to learn.
Here's an excellent example. Let's say a viewer comments, your audio quality is distracting. It's hard to focus on your message. Don't just brush it off.
You should have shouted out Jordan more.
Think about the viewer's experience. Maybe they're listening in a noisy, hectic environment or expect higher quality sound. Respond with, you're right, I need to improve my audio.
Oh, you make a good point. I'll consider that for the future. Thank you.
This response shows you care about their experience and are committed to making improvements. Make a habit of scanning feedback for valid points. Instead of dismissing.
Why did she do a flirty thing? Why was she flirting? Why was she flirting with us?
And critiques outright, ask yourself, is there truth in this? Create a list of actionable changes and tackle them one by one. When your audience sees you taking action, they're more likely to engage constructively in the future. Recognizing valid points is a powerful step towards growth. But there's another layer most people overlook. What if you went beyond just acknowledging the feedback and actually thanked the person giving it? It might sound counterintuitive, but showing appreciation, even for tough criticism, can transform the entire interaction. Surprising, right? That's the secret behind tip number 8. Thank the critic. Thanking someone for their
She's digging the turtleneck sports coat look.
feedback, even when it's tough to hear, shows confidence, humility, and professionalism. It flips the script and can completely
And that's what I was saying. I think Elton lacks a little bit of professionalism. So let's hear.
change the dynamic of your interactions. Here's an example. Let's say a viewer leaves a comment like, "Your presentation was confusing and hard to follow." Instead of getting defensive, reply with something like, "Thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate you taking the time to help me improve. This simple act of gratitude."
The Warren House Museum is too expensive. Oh, thanks for pointing that out. I'll look for ways to improve.
It can turn a critic into a supporter. Make it a habit to thank critics publicly and sincerely, even for harsh feedback. Gratitude can diffuse negativity. It also encourages more thoughtful feedback in the future, helping you to continue to grow and improve. Gratitude can turn critics into allies, but if you respond too quickly, you risk undoing all the goodwill you've built. Stay in control and keep the positive momentum going by managing your response time. That's tip number 9. Don't react immediately. Speaking of react,
Oh, you mean within like 24 hours of someone making videos, you shouldn't react?
reacting immediately. Stay with me. There's this one more tip after this that will make all of this worth watching to help you handle criticism like a pro.
Okay.
The first reaction to criticism is often emotional, and that's rarely productive. When you react right away, you're more likely to respond defensively.
Okay, like maybe we don't say emotional like it's a bad thing. Everything's emotional, Mr. Critique Guy. I think maybe we say, you know, at first it feels hurtful. And you might want to react before processing your feelings. Why thank the critic when you can lash out, call them toxic, and try to smear them? You know what? You make a good point, Andrew. My bad. I'll tell this guy that I was wrong too. Also, Andrew, I'm so sorry. I was gonna send people over, but I see that you're done streaming. I hope you had a good game and a good stream. Maybe Elton is one of those no publicity is bad publicity and then thrives on controversy. I guess, but it's not going to win him court cases.
Or impulsively. Instead, give yourself some time to cool off and think it through. Here's an example that happened.
Why is the construction timer, wow, instruction guy giving me a timeout? What's happening?
Sometimes a little too often. Let's say you receive a harsh comment moments after publishing a new video. Your first instinct might be to fire back. But what if you pause and take a...
Or someone else leaves a nasty comment on someone else's video about your husband. Maybe we pause.
breath.
Also, I wasn't saying those are nasty comments, but like let's just say.
Instead, say give yourself 2 to 4 hours before responding. This delay gives you time to reflect and respond thoughtfully. Sometimes people leave negative comments just to provoke a reaction. By not
this very like corporate video has someone flipping them off. I need to know where this stock footage came from. I just need to know.
reacting immediately, you maintain control over the situation and avoid giving them the satisfaction. Create a personal rule on how long you're going to wait to respond to negative feedback. Use that time to draft your response, then revisit it with a clear mind before posting it. This simple strategy helps you control your emotions and approach criticism more rationally, ensuring your response is thoughtful and effective. Remember, patience is your secret weapon against those who just want to be nasty and start an argument, and that's just not worth your time. I'd love to hear if you have a go-to strategy for staying calm when facing tough feedback. Taking a moment right after this video to leave that comment can also help keep the
my go-to is I make fart noises at them. They say, "You sound like a dumb bitch," and I go, "Who's a dumb bitch now?"
conversation going. Besides, your input can help someone else deal with those same difficult situations when they're
called a cop Gestapo in your game.
having to deal with a harsh critique. Taking a pause, a breath, or a thoughtful moment helps keep you calm and in control. But that's just the beginning. Criticism is only useful if you take action on it. Feedback is only as valuable as what you do with it. That's why the final and most crucial tip is to reflect and act on it. Self-reflection is critical, but action is what turns criticism into growth. Don't just sit on the feedback, take it to heart, and use it to make tangible improvements. Here's a really good example. If multiple viewers mention that your videos could use more structure, don't just acknowledge it and move on.
If multiple creators mention that you're being kind of shady in your law dealings, don't just yell at them.
Reflect on what they're saying.
Reflect on what they're saying.
Is there a pattern?
Are you doing a pattern of, using your LLCs to hide your identity and then to buy properties so that one creator specifically cannot profit off of something?
Then take action. Perhaps
take action
by outlining your videos more carefully.
Perhaps by just not fucking doing that.
Or using new editing techniques to add a higher level of clarity.
Or saying, my bad, you're right, I'm being kind of a weirdo for doing this. I'm so sorry.
In flow. After receiving feedback, set aside time.
After telling your wife to stop looking at all the creators' comments
each week to reflect on what you've learned and make a list of potential improvements.
Just stop fucking doing that.
Start taking action, one step at a time.
Just stop fucking doing that, all at once.
Growth happens through consistent effort and a willingness to adapt. So there you have it. The final 5 strategies to handle criticism like a pro. Practice empathy, acknowledge valid points, thank the critic, don't react immediately, and reflect and act. When combined with the first 5 strategies, you've got a complete toolbox to turn any feedback into growth and success. And your success is the goal. By mastering these 10 techniques, you're not just handling criticism, you're transforming it into a powerful tool for clearer, more meaningful communication. And if you're dealing with difficult people or tricky situations, I've got the perfect video on your screen right
now. Oh, it's okay. We're good. Thank you. Thank you, turtleneck guy. You're great. Okay. So let's just see what you guys are saying. Kit 4. The corporate approved response is to give a middle finger. Stone Rock, and explained that my taxi blowing up was bad, but not as bad as the peasant revolts because we had to unleash the wolves, and that they ate well for weeks. Eh? Oh no. Are you playing a character in this game? I'm already subbed on your YouTube. Are you on Twitch? This was on the gaming channel, right? Yeah. I'm so glad that this was in a game. Gaming, YouTube, Twitch. Yep. And then Doug, boy, these videos would be way better at work than training videos we really have. Yeah, I mean, you gotta get, what was his name? I forget his name. Stephen Walters. You gotta get Stephen Walters in on this. Unless I'm doing character work. Okay. The willingness to engage in shady real estate practice. Yes. Oh, nice. There's games, GTA, RP. Thank you. Roleplay. Yeah, I know what RP is. I'm not a gamer, but I do know what role-playing is. My husband plays tabletop RPGs, and by that, I mean Dungeons & Dragons. Is he yawning? Am I boring him? It is late. Okay. So yeah, do we have any thoughts about all of this? Anything that you want to do as a takeaway from this? Anything you think that I missed? What's our thoughts? You have me for at least 5 more minutes. We should play Baldur's Gate 3. We, as in me? I should play Baldur's Gate 3? Meowsers. Hi, everyone. I'm late. It's okay. DDH1. Tabletop RPGs. I have been summoned. Also, I didn't know that was what did it. We're like 3 hours in. That's what does it? Been lurking and working. Oh, yeah, that's fair. What was I saying? Oh, I have to, and I'll make an announcement about this. Speaking of games, usually I stream on Tuesdays. I can't stream this Tuesday. something going on in my personal life. I can't stream this Tuesday, so I'm going to move that stream to Wednesday. We are going to be playing Tomodachi Life again. We have, let's see. Oh my gosh. We have 3 characters plus myself of our little paranormal people. So start thinking of little paranormal characters that you want in there. We have Dudley, the ghost, who is Vic's little mascot. We have the Dust Devil, who is Dust mascot. We have... There's one more. The Goblin from Kentucky. Cornelius the Goblin from Kentucky. So start thinking of paranormal buddies that you want to have on the island so that we can all make them fall in love with each other. Apparently I have a crush on Cornelius. I've known him for 2 seconds. So we'll see if my crush goes anywhere. I just want to do the wrestling, but they all love each other. And they all want to do little kissies on the forehead. As well, I'm a Stardew Valley and Stardew Fields of Mistra. Both are cozy farm games, super new. I can't seem to figure out which one you are. Cornelius was my suggestion. That's right, Douglas made that suggestion. And if you make the suggestion, I will try to shout you out in the post after. But yeah, just so you know, I have to move it to Wednesday. I will make a post about that, so we don't all forget. Playing Mysteria 2, I don't know who to go for. I should play Stardew Valley. I know it's a farming dating sim, essentially. If you're not wrestling your crush, is it even your crush? Oh, give that guy the people's elbow. That's how we keep our marriage alive. Is I cha. As well, I think I'm going to go for the blue-haired merchant. He has easy loves. This is fun. I love how this ends up being about gaming, which is like the one thing I really... it's not the one thing. I don't do a lot of things. I do this mostly. You can buy his love gifts. What does that mean? I don't like that. Better than Juniper. She scared me away. I love this complicated love that I'm learning about. This is great. Okay. I'm going to start heading out only because I have a very early morning tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me in this stream. But I want to remind everybody to pay rent. How do you pay rent here at Ladies Fright? It's really simple. All you need to do is hit the like button. But I also like to offer 10% here at Ladies Fright. How do you get 10%? Well, there's a couple of different ways that you could. You can like the stream, you can comment later on the stream, or you can subscribe to me if you have not done so already. And there's a super secret 4th option where you can share this stream. And you might be asking 10% of what? That's a great question. You could be 10% more likely to end up in the comment section of a smaller creator. You could be 10% more likely to be possessed by, or your soul could be 10% more likely to possess one of the ghosts behind me. Or you could be 10% less likely to lose your front tooth. But you won't know that until you like, comment, subscribe, or share. And if you do all 4 of them, it will become 40% because it builds on it.